Break, come in. Elysia from the Wool Shift Dust podcast here to talk all things radio, episode 7 of season 3 of Silo and Apple TV. Over.
Roger. Roger that. This is Luke. I have eyes on all our key characters this week. That's a code yellow on plot development. Over.
Welcome back, Silosins and other friends. Our weekly Silo season coverage continues with season 3, episode 7, Radio, where the story is heating up in both the past and present. Before we begin, Luke, what's the full version of our spoiler policy for this podcast?
So the discussion will be spoiler-free beyond what's already aired. So that means spoilers through season 3, episode 7. So we're free to talk about anything that happened on screen or in the books in season 1 or 2 or the first 7 episodes of season 3. Alicia's read the books, but I'm keeping it show only. But to protect my and your spoiler innocence, there will be no future book spoilers. With one exception, we are allowed to discuss the new in-show universe booklet, The Mystery of the Pez by Robert Sims. See our separate bonus episode breakdown of that surprise Apple Books short story drop from last week.
Yeah, and so that one, we got some more of what's in it addressed, actually. So the only thing that's from that booklet that we haven't seen yet is the sonogram, the mysterious sonogram somewhere out there, and some knowledge of the Wilkins family, George's family.
Yes,
but and the spoilers linked to that are show universe only, involving characters that do not exist in the book. So. And this show, of course, always leaves a lot of room for speculation for even book readers like me. So I promise all speculation is genuine and I won't say anything that I can't. But if you do want the full spoiler discussion and deep dives into the book version of the story and our suppositions about where the TV show is going based on the book version of the story, then we have a separate book club podcast that I do with fellow reader Abby. Stick around until the end of the episode to hear more about that. And also, check out our feedback episode that we released earlier this week with community discussion through episode 6 of this season. So what would we talk about, Luke?
Light bulb theft, wrong answers, Morton Hatfoil theories, obviously, Knox's dad, questions of governance, memory, etc. And speaking of feedback, I got a message from Chris Kendall on Blue Sky. We talked about the correct, I think in the episode 6 episode, we talked about the correct pronunciation of Anthony. And Chris points out that if we're doing English pronunciations, it's Bernard rather than Bernard.
But he's not English, so pa.
But he's not English, so it is in fact Bernard.
He also taught me that what Americans say as Craig is what, how do you say it in British?
Craig.
And I said that, I'm not taking Brits seriously when they tell me to say Herb anymore if they're not saying the H in Anthony.
Fair enough.
But okay, on to this episode, Radio, Season 3, Episode 7, 55 minutes, a new longest every week. We've been getting like 1 minute longer. We get up to an hour by the finale, maybe. We'll see. I haven't looked.
We'll see.
This episode was released Friday, August 14th, 2026 on Apple TV, and we are a bit late on the recording this week. My fault. Deadlines. So it's actually already been released and out in the public now. So it sounds like other people like it too. Yay! As the director, we have Eric Avellino back for his last episode of the season. We've talked about him a lot before. And on the writing side, we have Remy Aubuchon, who's also credited for season 1, episode 4, The Truth, and season 2, episode 8, The Book of Quinn. So it seems he's kind of the expert on the prior Rebellion stuff.
Yes, it looks like it. They seems to be picking those episodes. I already mentioned this way back in our season 1 coverage, so if people want to go and listen to that, I think it's either episode 1 or 2. But Remy Aubuchon...
We did those 2 together.
Oh, okay. I think it will probably be the first episode we did then. But Remy Aubuchon is responsible for two of my favorite pieces of TV sci-fi from the early 2000s, which is the Battlestar Galactica follow-on series Caprica,
Oh, right.
which
Okay.
which unfortunately only lasted a season, and another show called Falling Skies, um, which has Noah Wiley from The Pit as the lead, and it also has Will Payton, Deputy Mons, as one of the characters. That lasted 3 seasons. The first 2 seasons were really good. The third season, it got messed around budget wise, so
Mm,
it was very much, are you walking around that same gravel pit again?
mm.
But yeah, Remy Aubuchon was producer and writer on both of those. And although both of them got cancelled before their time, they're well worth. I think Falling Skies in particular, Caprica, because only lasted a season, finishes on a really bum note. But yeah, Falling Skies is definitely worth looking up. It was on TNT originally, so I don't know what streaming platform it would be on.
Yeah, I've seen Caprica because, I've watched all the Battlestar Galactica stuff, but I have not watched Falling Skies, so I'll have to look it up.
What
I
did
have
you
no
think of
idea.
Caprica?
I'm trying to remember. Like, I think I was definitely disappointed when it was canceled. Yeah, I think I thought that it was like, because it was also, the Battlestar Galactica got a little bit, got a little bit loosier goosier by the end of the series. So
It did. It did.
its tightest writing was definitely in its like first season or two.
Yeah, it
Um,
was very. It was very much. We need to wrap up these lines of plot, and we're not quite sure how to do it.
mm, yeah. So, but I liked it. I liked it, and I'm gonna look up. I've opened Falling Skies. I'm gonna look it up later where I can watch that.
Okay. Like I said, the first 2 seasons are very good. The third season, the plot starts writing checks that the budget can't really cash, so
Gotcha.
the quality definitely declines.
Okay. Okay. But does it have a good ending? I
It
mean, does it have a
does.
solid ending? Yeah.
I think it does have a solid ending, and Will Patton, who played Deputy Mons, is very good in it, even though it's a supporting
Mm,
role.
mm.
Yeah.
But of course, we're here today to talk about Silo, the series, the Apple TV series based on the series of books by Hugh Howey, the main trilogy being Wool, Shift, and Dust. And the plot of this episode is Juliet sends Lukas and Kennedy on a mission as a desperate Camille threatens Robert to tell the truth. More than 350 years before that, the Before Times League assembles for a plane ride to the center of the secrets. So, Luke, what did you think about this episode overall?
Okay, there is so much going on in this episode. So we find out a lot about the rebellion 140 years before, and the frankly eerie parallels with what Juliet and her friends are experiencing. Um, we find out a lot more about Victor. We finally meet Per Stenson.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we we don't really like in episode 6. It's sign the NDAs and save the world. In this episode, we don't really know that much more about how we're saving the world, but we do know more about the characters.
Yeah, that's lined
Um,
up for the next episode for sure now, though.
yeah, just get to the point. But please, can we stop? Can we stop playing both literal and metaphorical footsie here and get to the point?
I mean, I'm 100% certain that that's what episode 8 is, but I, for one, absolutely love this episode. And I thought that the Silo, yeah, it was a lot of like various characters playing footsie on the plane. I personally love that. I love when, people get a chance for just to talk about things. And there was
Yes.
very interesting things that came up. Yeah. But I'll say that I think as much as I enjoyed the Before Times plot, Silo 18 had all the tension for me. Like, first of all, to paraphrase Vivaldi, Gloria, Gloria. He
like
makes Chelsea's founders.
like your ability to bring Silo characters back from the dead might actually be your superpower
I think
at this point.
I just predict where the plot needs to go. I see where good writing would take things, and they must be setting up this Gloria thing for a reason. So here she is. She's finally back. Plus, we got a mission mention, that character I keep bringing up from the rebellion 140 years ago. And we also got updates on Amy and Jerry. One is doing a lot better than the other. So I'm choosing my next missing person. I'm putting out the report. I'm putting out the, what do you call it? The bulletin
APB?
About APB.
Yeah, APB. Yeah.
APB on Lukas's mom, because first of all, I mean, we're obviously going to talk a lot about what's possibly happened with Lukas, why he wasn't the one who reported back in on the radio at the end of this. But Lukas's mom probably doesn't even know her baby left the silo. I'm sure. Why would she?
I'm
Does
sure
she even know
does.
he's alive?
We don't know that.
Because all we heard is that when they were looking for Lukas, the outsiders or Kathleen or someone, I can't remember exactly who said it, or Sandy maybe, said that they asked his mom, and she was like, I haven't seen him since, that whole incident with Robert pulling a gun on them at the end of last season. That could be a lie that she just tells to strangers, because why would she tell them if she had seen him?
Quite.
But I just wonder where she is. She's got to be worried about her son. It reminds me a bit of in the book plot, in the first book, when Lukas becomes the shadow to the head of IT. He, unlike in the show, he's allowed to like walk around and investigate stuff. In the book, he's just locked in the vault, like read, learn, go nowhere. And the rebellion was also raging outside, to be honest. So he doesn't even get to see his mom or update his mom for the longest time until she's like brought to come see him at the door. When I don't know. So just I'm thinking about Lukas's mom in that regard.
Before we get into the episode breakdown, our Daredevil podcast partner Jean is going to hate me saying this, and I expect to get all kinds of roasted in the Discord from him for saying this. But do I like Robert Sims? Am I starting to like Robert Sims? Is he on a redemption arc?
I've always, well, I mean, it's not fair. I can't really comment further. But I think that we see here, like, it's definitely he and Camille have swapped places in a lot of ways, perhaps in their son's eyes.
Yeah.
Like, she's the badass, mommy says, and he's like, daddy says, let Anthony decide.
Yeah. Oh, and we have some important news from the real world as well.
Speaking of couples, we learned a thing. What did we learn?
That Paul and Kathleen Billings are actually married. So that's Chazza Uche and Caitlin Zoz are not just a couple. They are not just married. They were apparently high school sweethearts.
Yeah. So it just goes to show you that when Luke and I are looking into the silo stuff, we're not looking into private lives. That's not really what we're doing. But I just saw it on Reddit. Someone was saying something about like, did you know they're married in real life? And I was like, no. And I looked it up, and I even found an old podcast that they did like 7 years ago or something. And they're talking about Chinaza Uche was talking about a new Apple show coming up. I'm like, it's going to be Silo, but no, he was talking about Dickinson. I was like, oh yeah, well, it is 7 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah.
Do we know whether this is the first time they've acted on screen together?
I didn't hear them. In a significant way, I think.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't hear them like bring up something else that they had done. Maybe, a student film in school or something. I don't know. But as far as I know, if anyone knows any differently, please tell us. Because, like I said, we're not into the private lives of the actors per se, but this is really fun to know.
Yeah. I wonder. I also like we're not going to know this, but I wonder whether they auditioned together, or whether they auditioned separately and both got the parts.
Maybe, or maybe, I mean, because he presumably already had like some sort of ongoing relationship with,
Relationship with Apple, yeah.
right? Because he did Dickinson, for example. So presumably he was first in the door, but maybe they're like, oh, we need to cast a wife for you. And he was like, I happen to have a wife.
I know somebody who would be perfect for that role.
Oh, but that's great. I love it. All right. Shall we get into the episode itself?
Yeah, let's.
Your regularly scheduled breakdown will begin in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so it's a tangled web of plots woven this week, but we're going to try to unwind them one thread at a time. So we'll navigate this together. And we're going to start with the before times this week with a private plainside meet and greet. Picking up from episode 6's cliffhanger, Senator Thurman, Laura Innes, and her fixer Henry, Reed Birney, lead Congressman Daniel Keene, Ashley Zuckerman, and journalist Helen Drew, Jessica Henwick, I'm going to keep being it that one person's nightmare, sorry, into the private plane hangar. They find Daniel's sister Charlotte, Jessica Brown Finlay there, waiting for them with her Dr. Victor Cernkovich, Matt Craven, real last name Cernkovich, and the senator's daughter, Anna Thurman, Morven Christie. But they can't tell Daniel and Helen anything until they sign some non-disclosure agreements. In strolls tech giant and owner of the Stenson Memory Clinic, Per Stenson, Colin Hanks, telling them the threat for violating these NDAs is Gitmo. But if they do sign, they will learn the world's most important secret, and he'll throw in $100K to sweeten the deal. Fine, $1 million each. What did you think about this? I mean, okay, so if we're calling the Silo 18ers the Silo Vengers, is this like the Before Times League?
Yes, this is the league to save the world. Yeah.
What did you think about this first gathering of the Before Times League and the long-awaited introduction of Per Stenson?
I think I'm going to like Per Stenson. I like the way Colin Hanks is playing him. And in the show notes, you've got what I consider to be the best line of the episode. I'm Per Stenson. We know who you are. Oh, I know you know. I'm just being polite. My social team says I need to do that. When he says social team, is he talking about a social media team, do you think?
Yeah.
Or is he actually talking about a team of people to help him be more pleasant towards people in real life as well?
Well, I mean, it's his PR team, which would do both.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was also he comes in waving around money, and it's like Helen, she states like, I have 700 in my bank account, and my immediate thought is like, rich bitch. So he's like 100K, and then I was like, each? And then he's like, oh fine, $1 million each. I'm like, well, I mean, you had me at learning the most important secret in the world for freezies, but I will take that $1 million.
I will take that $1 million
and sign and hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm committing to do something. I'm just hearing what you have to say. And I guess promising to keep a secret with threat of Gitmo. Do you want to explain what Gitmo is to those who don't know? Or as they put it, actual fucking Guantanamo?
Yeah, so Guantanamo Bay was a US naval base that was ceded by Cuba to the United States on Cuban independence because the United States intervenes in the Cuban War of Independence to help the Cubans defeat the Spanish, but then they also basically forced the new Cuban government to cede them all kinds of goodies, not just Guantanamo Bay, but like special privileges for US companies that last until the Cuban Revolution of 1959. So Guantanamo Bay remains under US control to this day. But obviously after 9/11, it's turned into a prison for Al-Qaeda suspects and other people that the Bush administration doesn't want entering the regular court system, because even though it's controlled by the United States, it's neither part of the United States nor part of Cuba, although the Supreme Court, in a series of decisions, did say that actually for certain purposes, people held at Guantanamo Bay do have access to the regular US court system in a very limited way, but that's very complicated and nothing to do with Silo. So yeah, that's what Guantanamo Bay is.
Not a consequence you want to suffer.
No.
Not a place you want to be sent. Yeah, and of course, Parrot's like, I'm thinking about buying the island, not just the base, the whole island, because it's beautiful. Like, and I like Helen. I continue to like Helen, and she says like, you can't just buy everybody. Although he proves throughout the episode with the things he drops that he can. It seems like, but yeah.
Is it just me as well, or do you think the wardrobe department and the hairstylist went out of their way to make Colin Hanks look a little like Elon Musk?
Oh, you think? I was thinking. I mean, I think it's general tech bro stuff. I thought more like Steve Jobs at a point, but I guess not. He doesn't have the black turtleneck.
No, he doesn't have the black turtleneck or the jeans.
But I think it is just like a tech bro wardrobe where but yeah, I've worked at a lot of startups, and it's sort of like a fancy casual.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sit around all day coding, but I can afford nice clothes. Sort of wardrobe. Also interesting is that Helen asks how long until, before she agrees to sign, how long until I can write about whatever this is. And Senator Thurman says no more than 5 years, hopefully less, and then assures this really is about saving the world. What do you think is up with this 5-year timeline? And what's your new tinfoil hat theory about all of this after this episode?
I mean, I don't actually have a tinfoil hat theory because I just thought the senator was lying, because I think in 5 years everybody is going to be living in the silo, and therefore there is nothing to write about. There is no newspaper to which you can write. So I just think she was fobbing Helen off
right
at that point. The one question I do have is, can you make a congressperson sign an NDA? And would that NDA have any effect? Because I'm not a lawyer, but surely they would have congressional privilege to go and say whatever they want to say on the floor of the House of Representatives.
I mean, there's obviously confidential materials that they're not, like if you are sworn in to become the president, you are granted access to confidential materials that you didn't have access to before, and unless they become declassified, you can't just share them. They have to be officially declassified, although I guess that's something the president can do.
Yeah, I'm only thinking, I don't know whether this is the same in the US, but in a UK context, if an MP stands up in the House of Commons, they can say whatever they want without risk of being sued. It's called parliamentary privilege.
I mean, but there's got to be classified government secrets in the UK that they can't just say publicly, right?
I mean, they can't,
like
but
if they're involved in spycraft or something, you can't just say those things.
Well, they can say, again, in the UK, they actually can say that. It would be up to the Speaker to stop that. It would be up to the Speaker of the House of Commons to shut them up, basically. But yeah, you can say whatever you want on the floor of the House, because like people have used that to get around NDAs in the past. So there have been instances. But yeah, I'm not sure you can get a congressperson to sign an NDA that would be legally enforceable. If there are any lawyers listening to this,
in the US, what you definitely can. Oh yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean I think it's considered treason. Like I know, for instance, Snowden and such, that he's not a member of Congress, but still it's under these sorts of laws that he was being prosecuted and had to, hide from the US government and other governments. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it'd be considered high treason or something. But yeah, if there's anyone with legal expertise in this area, would love to hear more. But yeah, I would say, yeah, I would take the threat seriously within the context of this show, considering they're based in the US.
Okay.
But yeah, it's as far as why they would sign, I guess with Helen, we're supposed to think it's curiosity and money. With Daniel, he says he just wants to know what happened to his sister. And Charlotte, he's asked Charlotte, "Did you sign?" And she said, "I did, because I also want to know what the fuck happened to me." She doesn't even know about the what the fuck cloud, but she's still using the right words. Would you sign, Luke?
Yeah, because I want to know I always want to know what's going on. I think Helen uses the line later on in the episode, "Everybody is interesting to me," and I'm very much in that same boat
Yeah.
with Helen. I want to know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. Yeah. We
Yeah.
definitely want to know. Yeah. I mean, and then
By the way, I would also take the $1 million in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Do you think they would forget drug them if they said they wouldn't sign?
Yeah. Well, I mean, possibly, but what is it that they actually know or think they know?
They know there's something. Maybe they don't even want them to know there's something.
Yeah, but like,
because Helen wouldn't stop digging. That's for sure.
No, Helen wouldn't stop digging. But I am just thinking that Daniel has a public profile. I
Yeah,
suppose
but he was still digging anyway. He wants to know about his sister.
No. But like, if you memory drug a sitting Congress, I'm sure you can come up with a plausible cover story. But
yeah,
like sitting Congressman
they had a mysterious car accident.
Yeah.
I mean, they would bring back his memory, but it would just be like they would get sent to the Stenson clinic or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did find, I was so glad in this episode that they gave us that meeting between Daniel and Charlotte in the first episode so we could see their natural repartee, because it's very subtle what Jessica Brown Finlay's doing, but I felt a marked difference in her behavior toward Daniel, because at this point in the story, she knows who Daniel is. She's like, yeah, I know you're my brother, but she doesn't remember him. She doesn't feel that warmth toward him. And so she sasses him later and he seems a little bit relieved by it, but it's not the same. She's sassing him because that's who she is, not because that's who they are as siblings.
Yes. And I think also it's that I've been told this is who I am and this is who you are. So it's an actor playing somebody playing a role. It's almost like,
yeah, I think it is just her personality. In this case, that's just her personality peeking through, but it's not like their repartee. It's just her. It's not a dual thing. It's a one-sided, I'm just being Charlotte.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I do have to ask a logistics question about the plane, and I saw something in a book spoiler chat that maybe gives me a partial answer about the weirdness of this, but we'll bring that up in the book club. But I'm wondering your thoughts on. Okay, so we know Daniel and Helen started in DC and they got in this car. They were going to go not too far away down to Norfolk, Virginia, just a few hours, but then the car was carjacked and they were driven somewhere. We don't know exactly how long they were in the car, presumably a few hours, but then they end up at this airport and they get on this plane. And the plane felt like it was almost an overnight flight. But I was doing calculations and like, even if they drove from DC, let's say like up to New York, that would be a few hours. And then, and that would be on the I-95, which Daniel name dropped in episode 6. And then they flew from New York to like a flight from New York to Atlanta. I looked it up out of curiosity, but this sounds right. It's just over 2 hours. So what do you think's going on there?
So basically what you're saying is we've got the opposite of jetpacking going on. We've got like horse and carting going on.
D-jetpacking, yeah.
D-jetpacking. I hadn't really thought about it, but yeah, you're right. The logistics of it don't really make sense. So yeah, that they might have been driven further than we thought. They might have possibly, but why would they? Yeah.
And so I'll say that the thing that I saw made me wonder what if they were just flying around in the air for reasons?
Yeah, just to give them time to have a conversation.
I mean, from the writing perspective, certainly that. But yeah, maybe in universe too.
Yeah, because I mean, Per Stenson, he's really just taking Daniel and Helen along. A, because he sort of has to, but B, also on Senator Thurman's kind of word that they're persuadable. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe part of the flight was to sort of check out whether, because you can get them to sign all the NDAs you want. That doesn't actually mean that they're gonna honor them. So maybe they were trying to weigh whether these people were gonna blow the secret before they told it to.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Well, let's take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll talk about those mile high conversations. All right, so as the characters fly from Pear's private hangar to a mysterious location in Georgia, it gives them time to catch up on a series of private conversations. So we're going to go through the conversations one at a time, starting with actually a handful of conversations about Charlotte's memories. So Charlotte fills her brother in on her treatment, saying Victor helped her recover her most recent memories up to the point of the mission, but not the mission itself. Later, Victor sits with Daniel and emphasizes that everything he said to Daniel last time they met is still true. He is Charlotte's doctor, and he does need Daniel's help restoring her memories, her childhood memories especially, whatever else is going on with the NDAs and the fate of the world. Victor tells Daniel the story of his wife and daughter Lulu's death and how he can know it happened without remembering the intense pain of his child dying in his arms. So, what do you think about all the memory stuff this episode with Charlotte and Co. and Victor?
I think you get a better sense. I mean, we sort of already knew this. We sort of already suspected this about Victor, but I think it's useful to have it confirmed from his point of view that that was why he was developing the memory drugs. And I think it's you can understand why he would want to do that and how he would think what he was doing was helpful both for himself and for other people. But ultimately, I think Victor is wrong. You need to remember there are ways of doing it safely, and there are ways of doing it in ways that are healthy. But ultimately, to be a rounded human being is to experience pain and loss and grief. And if you take that away from people, I think you are taking part of their soul, for want of a better word.
Hmm.
Um, people in the Discord have made this comparison, and it's a strange one in the context of Silo, but it very much reminds me of that scene in Star Trek Five where there's a character in Star Trek Five that can do what Victor that can sort of do what Victor is proposing, which is basically to take people's pain away from them. And William Shatner, Captain Kirk, does this quite long soliloquy about the importance of pain to his identity, to who he is, and where he's come from. By the way, I'm not recommending that you watch. Well, I am recommending that you watch Star Trek Five because it's a crap film, but it's a crap film that's oddly kind of good. It's so crap that it goes all the way round and comes back to good. But yeah, it very much reminded me of that. Um, and yeah, there is a kind of distance between Charlotte and Daniel in the sense that Charlotte knows that she should love Daniel because he's her brother, but she doesn't because she can't remember him or can't
Right.
remember him properly anyway. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think you're right that Jessica Brown Findlay is doing a really good job here of communicating that there is that distance still between them. And the thing is that distance might always exist from now on because even if she gets her memories back, they won't be the original they won't be her original memories.
Hmm.
That she will always have doubt. Or if it was me anyway, I would always have doubt what's been left out. I would always be questioning what's been left out.
Yeah. Well, I have to
Yeah.
say, yeah. I think this is a strong change for various reasons, but I've said that this whole thing about her losing her memories like this is new for the show. And I understand the many reasons why they're doing it. One of which is, the paralleling with Juliet's experience in the Silo 18 timeline and all that. But as a book reader, it does give me this sort of ache in my heart of yeah, the distance it puts between the brother and sister.
But you know what I mean? If you were in Charlotte's shoes, let's say she gets, her memory completely restored. Would
Hmm.
you would you be questioning? Well, is it completely restored? That's just what I've been told. How do I know there isn't a gap somewhere?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, it is the exchange where she knows, like, there's almost, it's not annoyance per se, but a little bit when she's like, I understand why this brother character, like, to her it's basically like, I've been told this is my brother, you keep telling me this is my brother, I don't remember us running from the dog together, I just remember you hovering over my hospital bed being a little bit annoying. um
sweating bullets, as she put it.
right. But yeah, so, like, she understands why he needs explanations, and she understands that he cares about her. She just doesn't have that feeling about him. And I hope that that will come back. I hope that, there will be, Victor says they want to keep working on their childhood, and that should help a lot. So I hope we see that over the rest of this season. But yeah, she says about that Victor said, there would be value in remembering right up to when I got on the plane, but not further. And we find out, we'll get to this separately in a moment, but we find out, obviously, this is what Victor did with himself for reasons to not remember things, that he wanted that emotional distance from his most traumatic memories. But she says, I'm better than I was. Victor's helped me remember. And Daniel says, but he also made you forget. And I wrote in the notes, see, he's pushing back.
Yeah. Okay. See. Yeah. I will sit here and I will take my medicine, Daniel. All is forgiven. I've said it a couple of episodes ago. Daniel's stock has definitely gone up.
I know not with everyone, but I'm a Daniel defender.
Yeah. But when Victor says he did this to himself, he did. But it made me wonder who was the Daniel in Victor's life? Who helped him rebuild the memories he wanted to keep? Because he couldn't have done this entirely by himself. If he's if what he's describing to Daniel is what he did to himself, he couldn't have done it entirely alone. There had to be somebody else.
No, yeah, he probably wrote things down, what he wanted to know. But that is the thing. He certainly didn't have his wife and daughter there to help him. So yeah, well, I'll just say before we get into Victor, yeah, this is where Charlotte says, snarks at her brother. Yeah, that was me asking you to move. I need your seat, which made him feel a little bit better. But yeah, and then so Daniel goes and talks to Victor, and he says it will work. Victor says, you said there were no guarantees. And Victor says, I did, but two things can be true at once, which, yeah, fair. Like that he believes it will work, but we don't, yeah, who can say that it'll be 100%? But the Victor lore that we learned this episode is he used to live in LA. He had a daughter who was obsessed with the Grand Canyon and wanted to go. And so he was rushing to reach the south rim before sunrise so that she could see that. And that's when he fell asleep at the wheel. And at the same time, there was a trucker named Kevin Bishop who also fell asleep at the wheel and drifted across the lane into. So it wasn't even like Victor wasn't the one who drifted. He just nodded off at the wrong moment when a truck drifted into the lane.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he says all the techniques that I'm using on Charlotte, the drugs, the therapy, I devised it all 30 years ago for myself because I wanted to forget. So obviously, like, his wife couldn't help him recover. It would just be work colleagues. So he probably never got a full, proper memory. I'm sure, that he had photos that he looked at with his
Yeah.
family and home videos, that sort of thing.
Well, I'm wondering. Does he have a brother? Does he have a sister? Does he have a brother-in-law, sister-in-law, somebody that might help him with that personal stuff?
I'm assuming that I'm sure you can get a lot back through, I'm sure, home videos and stuff, but he didn't have, for instance, I think smell is a huge memory trigger for most of us, and he
Yeah,
didn't have the smell of his family to trigger memories like things like that. So I'm guessing that the memory he did get back of them is imperfect and a little more
yeah.
distance than old Victor might have wanted.
By the way, I've never been to the Grand Canyon. Have you?
Yes, I've been a couple of times. Yeah, it's lovely.
Is it as impressive as people say it is?
Yeah, I mean it's massive. It's so it's different like depending on where you go. It's actually more impressive looking in the part that's narrower, which I think it's the southern part, which is the first part I went to, I guess. This when I went the second time. So the first time I went, I came from Arizona. And the second time I went from Las Vegas, and I was with my family, and we did a helicopter ride into the canyon itself, and that was really cool to do it by helicopter. I was really glad that we did that. The narrower one, you can see more like, wow, that's a massive canyon. When it's wide, it's harder to see the scope of it actually in one eyeful.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, as far as what you're saying about losing a part of your soul and Victor's whole memory journey, like, of course, a child dying in your arms is a horrendous tragedy, but I can't help but be even more heartbroken by the idea of not remembering your final moments with that child.
Yeah, there's another piece of media, and again, sorry, it just lives rent free in my head. I will get over the fact that it didn't get the final season at some point. But there's a great scene in the first series of Westworld
Mm.
where Bernard is sitting uh, with Dolores, and basically Bernard's. This is not Bernard, and this is a different
But
character, obviously.
obviously, yeah.
But he's sitting with Dolores, and he says something about Dolores has lost her quote unquote family. I said, if I can take away all, because obviously they're robots, so I can take away all this pain. You want me to, but she says something along the lines of, "But the pain is all I have left of them.
Yeah.
Why would you want? Why would I want you to take that away from me?" Yeah, I mean, we all have to experience death of a loved one at some point in our lives. And it's horrible. It's awful. They take some part of you with them, but it's also grief is the price. I'm very much a believer in grief is the price you pay for love in the first place. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to not remember the entirety of the experience. However, the ending is not the sum total of the. This is getting a bit deep. The ending is not the subtotal of the experience, basically.
No. Also, yeah, it does also remind me of a thing in Wheel of Time, but it's spoilery. Everyone should watch the Wheel of Time. But there's a great quote in that also about the pain being what you hold on to.
Yeah, and
And I
please
agree. The
HBO, can I get that final series of Westworld? I need it. I need it. I need to
I
know that.
mean, it's not even available to stream on the platform anymore, so I don't know. It's
So glad I bought all the seasons of that.
well, well.
Yeah.
But is for this show,
Sorry.
as far as like Victor and his child, it's just he lost his child's last words to him, which might have been the most meaningful thing in the world, and maybe even changed him as a person, and maybe for the better in some ways. And he lost that change for the better. This is just pure speculation. This is not like we don't know Victor's whole backstory in the books, so this is something added. But I just wonder, what did he lose in those final moments, and might it be everything?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I can see why Victor is doing what he's doing, and I can see why he thinks it is a mercy and a service, but he's wrong.
Mm, mm. Yeah, and just to say that Daniel and Helen, he does talk to her about his sister's recovery, and I say there's like after people were like, People were like, there's too much time between them last week. Well, now there's almost no time between them. But I do still have the feeling that they, like, when they go to sit together on the plane, it's like they are each other's sort of home base in this situation. There's this,
Yeah,
even though Charlotte's on the plane, it's sort of his comfort at this moment comes from being near Helen.
yeah,
You agree? Yeah.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, yeah, and I think just because they don't spend a lot of time together, I think Jessica and Wigan Ashley's come and have, like we said before, they have really good chemistry, so they don't
Hmm.
need to spend a lot of time together to communicate stuff to the
No,
audience.
no, we got that last week. But we also learn a lot more about the other older gentlemen on the plane. So, unlocking Henry. Henry admits to Helen that the minivan they were trapped in was bugged, and he heard everything they said. His respect for her has increased now that he knows the truth behind her alleged journalistic fraud. And not to worry, the NDAs ensure that this information will remain a secret as well. Helen asks the man about his background, and he says he spent 20 years in military intelligence and then ran his own private firm before meeting the senator during her first congressional campaign and going to work for her, at first as her driver. Now, he says he doesn't really have a job title. He just takes care of things for the senator and her daughter, Anna. And first of all, we're calling him Henry because that's how he's credited, but he still hasn't even said his name, has he? Is that part of the
No,
NDA? His name?
I don't think he's going to.
No.
Uh, no, I don't think he will ever say his name on screen. I will make that bet now.
Okay, we'll see. He's Henry in the credits, so we'll keep using that name until we get anything better. But yeah, I liked he called them out. Like Helen lied to him. Helen, Miss Journalistic Integrity, still can't sleep. Daniel and I slept in the back of the minivan when you were driving it, and he's like, "I know that's a lie because you were bugged." And he says, "It wasn't me driving it," which is fair. um, do you have thoughts on how the self-driving of this dumb van mechanism worked?
No, honestly, with stuff like that, unless it's like becomes integral to the plot, I'm happy to just leave it at
All
it was
right.
necessary for the plot.
Okay. All right. um, what do you think about Henry's firm? He says it was success. It was very successful until it wasn't. So, like, what changed? Was there a possible interference? He says it was entirely my fault. Certain character defects I hadn't addressed. What do you make of all that?
There was, I mean, I have no reason to think this. It's just instinct, and it was just the way he delivered the line. And maybe this is something I'm bringing to this, but I thought that was an admission on his part of like some sort of substance abuse.
Okay. Yeah, could be. Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately why his company failed. Basically, that he needed to deal with that. And
Okay.
like I said, I don't know what's sort of driving me in that direction, but that was my instant reaction to that line.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll say I don't know. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out what book character or characters this character might be analogous to. But so I have no idea either. But it does, yeah, we do hear I was calling him Thurman's fixer, and it seems that is the case. And it's like, what does that mean? It means a lot. What's the worst thing you think he maybe has ever done for the Thurmans? Like, are we talking we'll talk about Rob Sims later.
Yeah,
And his
are we talking murder?
yeah,
We're certainly talking blackmail.
yeah, we've seen that.
Um, yeah, I'm not sure it would go as it might go as far as murder, but I doubt it. It strikes me that Henry is very much somebody who would rather catch flies with honey than with vinegar.
Hmm.
And that if you can buy people, that's much
Right.
safer than violence. Um, could I see him killing somebody? Yeah, but I don't think. I think with Robert Sims killing people often to him in the past has been the easiest solution. I think Henry would see that as a failure. I think he has more, for want of a better word, he has more art to him than Sims.
Well, I don't
He
think
would let
Sims.
he
Mhm.
Go ahead.
I don't think Sims was making the decisions to kill people. I think he was being instructed to.
That's true, but I think Henry wants everybody to go away from the deal happy. I think, or at least satisfied. And
Mm-hmm.
don't get me wrong, I think if that's not possible, I think he would resort to violence, but that's not where he's going to go in the first instance. I don't think.
No, and if he did, I can't imagine him like pushing anyone over the railing himself, like Sims.
Yeah, no, he
Yeah.
would hire somebody to do that.
Okay. And then our last conversation we'll check in on during the flight is footsie flirting. Anna sees Charlotte struggling to sleep and joins her. As the two make eyes at each other, Charlotte admits she doesn't like flying when she's not the one controlling the plane. And Anna says thoughts of the big day tomorrow are keeping her awake. So I'll say, like, as a reader, I was like, are these, like, in the books, I've said that they're old family friends, the Charlotte and Donald's, in the book terms, family, and the Thurmans are old family friends. Obviously, they've all just met, the two families, in this version. But in the book, she would be more Donald's friend, more like involved with his professional career and things like that. And so this is unexpected. And this week's book club discussion is going to be all about Anna and how this new for the show connection might or might not change this side of the plot to come. But what did you make of this unexpected flirting?
I've got to say the flirting kind of comes out of nowhere. It caught me off guard a little bit because
we haven't seen them together. The last we heard was she asked Daniel if he would mind if she went to visit his sister to pay respects to a veteran, and we were like, okay, that's weird, but you do you, girl.
Yeah, no, like, yeah. I'm gonna need more information on that, guys. You can't just throw that out there like that. Like, fair enough, but yeah, where did that come from?
They had that whole like cutesy magic show exchange about like Charlotte just wants to cut right to the explanation. She doesn't want the trick. The foot rubbing teases.
Yeah.
But they're also they're both like looking around a lot and aware that there's other people around them and adjusting their behavior accordingly. And I do think Daniel clocks the flirting for a moment.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Daniel definitely clocks the flirting, and I don't think he's happy about it.
Yeah, I don't know. Why do you think that would be? Because like he's not sure he trusts Anna?
I think there's partly that. I also think, from Daniel's point of view, it might look as if Anna is taking advantage of his sister who hasn't got her memory back yet.
Yeah, but if you meet someone new, that's not.
That's the thing. We don't. Is she new? We don't.
I
really
mean,
know.
yeah. If they met privately, we wouldn't know. No, I mean, as far as Daniel knows, they've never met before, and
that's true.
As far as Daniel knows, the Thurmans had never heard of his sister until he barged into Senator Thurman's office and brought her up.
Yeah.
But it is, I did notice in the background on my second watch when I was distracted in the first watch by the conversation we'll get to between Helen and Pear. But in the background, while they're walking away from the plane to the helicopters, Charlotte and Anna are walking together and kind of giggling, and then Anna yells to her mom, like, "We'll take the helicopter in the back," and they run off.
Oh, I didn't notice that on either of my watches. So good spot.
So definite flirting going on, but yeah, let's set this section up. Digging deep. As dawn approaches, the group flies past Atlanta to a location in Georgia where Pear has purchased a large tract of land. The group disembarks and boards helicopters. Through the window of one of the helicopters, Daniel sees one of the giant diggers he designed for his previous Army Corps of Engineering work in New Orleans, and it's digging. This is clearly the site of the future silos. Do do do. What did you think when you saw that?
Well, it's like we've known from episode 1, that Daniel invented a special digger. I wonder what the special digger could be used for. But it was kind of cool seeing this digger that we've only seen as an inanimate object at the bottom of the silo actually doing some digging. That
Mm-hmm.
was cool. And yeah, like I think we'll talk about it in a second, but one of the scene what the scene does sort of relate is just how insanely rich Per Stenson must actually be
Mm-hmm.
for like a whole variety of reasons. He's got to be like Bezos levels of wealthy, if not wealthier. Like there's just some crazy stuff going on here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we find out that he he purchased 300,000 acres. He translates that into 400 square miles, and then I did a conversion. That's 1,040 square kilometers. So that is a buttload of land. It used to consist of 42 individual farms, and Daniel's like, you convinced 42 Georgia farmers to give up their farms, and he says, I gave them generational wealth, which, as you point out with the Helen thing, if the silo system is implemented in 5 years, is potentially,
Yeah, won't be meaningful.
yeah, quite a dickish thing. Like he just threw a bunch of money at them that they can enjoy for now, for the next 5 years, I guess. um, so about the project, I'll say it's interesting. They didn't know they were headed to Georgia until Daniel looked out the window and saw the Atlanta skyline right before they arrived. So again, it's like, why didn't they just tell them where they were going? And it seems like they were intentionally trying to disorient them, and maybe that would be a reason of going around in circles. Um,
Yeah,
and it does seem here like, because I'll say in the book it was a government project, and here it seems more like a private, or at least privately funded project that's not going to be public knowledge for now, at least.
yeah, and I do wonder whether the connection between Pear and Senator Thurman pre-existed the project, pre-existed the building of the silo, or whether Pear had gone
Mhm.
away and like done research as to where is the best place to put these silos. Oh, we figured out it's Georgia. Let's get the senator from Georgia on side. So, in other words, is it being built in Georgia because Pear had a pre-existing relationship with Senator Thurman, or does he
Mm.
have a relationship with Senator Thurman because he is building the silos in Georgia?
And it is interesting. We don't know yet where Pear is from. I guess because of the tech stuff, I'm like, he must be from California. That's not necessarily true. And we find out that Victor was originally in LA. So then I wonder if like they met up, whatever that Victor and Pear met up, because obviously Victor is working at the Stenson Clinic, which has Pear's name on it. And we found out he created, apparently, to either honor his mother or treat his mother. That's not clear. But his mother was
Yeah.
Gloria. Was it Gloria Stenson? Am I making that up?
Uh,
Um,
I'd have to go back and rewatch it.
Heidi Stenson. It was Heidi Stenson.
Heidi. Okay.
But yeah, so he created it, something to do with his mother. So did he and Victor meet in California? But then the question becomes, why is the clinic in Georgia?
It's a good question.
We hear Daniel does ask Senator Thurman, like, whose idea was this whole thing? And she says, he's the brains. I'm just a believer. I feel like that's a typically political, cryptic thing to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But okay, here's my question. In terms of all the footsies being played, is Pear paying extra attention to Helen?
Yes. No
Is he
question.
he likes the Helen sass?
He does like the Helen Sass. Like he's clearly somebody. He's clearly somebody who hasn't been told no by anybody in a very long time, and I think he finds that quite attractive. And also, let's face it, Helen Drew she's good looking. Let's not beat about the
Yeah, sure,
bush.
sure, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know whether this season whether the writers have changed their approach slightly this season, but this season does seem to have a lot more like one-liners and a lot more humor in it
Okay.
than season 1 and 2. I think,
Do you think? Okay.
yeah,
I don't know. I think they're like Patrick was often our comic relief in the first two
yeah,
seasons. All right, but we've got to talk about this conversation Helen and Pear have. So, okay, Helen says, I gotta ask, that rumor going around. I'm not a robot. No, the other one, the unicorn. Oh, that one's true. I thought it was a joke. No, we have the science. We created our own gene editing technology. It makes CRISPR look like Fisher-Price. We did some magic with horse, narwhal, and rhino DNA. It would have worked too, but I scrapped it. You had a momentary burst of not wanting to be a mad scientist? I talked with the 10th richest man in the world, and he offered me $1 billion if I created my unicorn, and he could hunt and kill it. Fucking billionaires. They ruin everything. So what do you make of all this?
I love the fucking billionaires. They ruin everything. And I also love the...
He says completely self-aware, yeah.
Yeah, and I also love the I am not a robot. Clearly he has had that conversation so many times.
That feels like a Mark Zuckerberg reference.
Yeah, although how would you know?
Yeah, watch the Oscar award-winning short film from last year, I Am Not a Robot, Dutch film. You can find it on YouTube.
But also, why would a billionaire think offering Per Stenson $1 billion would do anything? That's like saying that would be like me coming along and saying I'd like to kill your unicorn. Here's £10. That's not gonna move the needle. He doesn't need another $1 billion. I'm with Per here. If you could create a unicorn, why would your first reaction be to want to hunt it?
Yeah. No, I'm definitely with Per on that. But I do wonder how many billions... is Per the first wealthiest, did they say?
Yeah, they something like that.
I'm the richest man in... Oh, okay. Sorry, this is maybe a spoiler. But no, he's the richest man I saw somewhere else. So, okay.
Okay.
Don't look at it.
Also, if you were a billionaire and you had access to the technology, would you want to create a mythical creature? And if so, which one?
I mean, a unicorn's a good one, but the thing is, you're not creating a magical unicorn. You're creating a horse with a bone sticking out of its head.
Yeah, with a bone sticking out of its head.
Which may not be convenient for said horse.
Well, that's true. That's true as well, and also it's not going to be able to fly. So yeah,
no, it's not a Pegasus.
Yeah, I've got to say, speaking of things that can fly, if it was me, and this is after watching a lot of Hot D, you surely got to try and make a dragon. That would be cool.
Literally making the animal nuclear bomb.
Literally, yeah. I mean, come on, it goes boomily. It makes things go boomily.
I'm sure I'd regret this, but I think, I mean, and yeah, I don't want to genetically experiment on animals in general. I just say again, I'm a vegetarian, blah blah blah. But it'd be fun if my cats could fly, but also, I'm sure it'd be terrible.
But would it? It would be fun for the cats. I'm not sure it'd be fun for you.
It's already a problem, getting them off of things. Oh. Yeah. I mean, I guess you can't do it to yourself. I want wings, but it would be more the case of having a child with wings, and I wouldn't subject that to another child.
Yeah, no, it's an entirely different thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, but since we've reached the end of the Before Times plot for this episode, will you rank these characters based on how much you trust them right now? Daniel, Helen, Charlotte, Victor, the Senator, Anna, Henry, and newbie Per Stenson. How much do you trust them ranked?
So I would go with Daniel first, then Helen, then Charlotte, then Anna, then Senator Thurman, then Victor, then Per Stenson. Have I missed anybody out?
Henry.
Well, no, I would I put Henry above Per Stenson? Yes, I probably would. Per Stenson has got to come last.
So you like him, but you don't trust him.
Exactly.
Okay.
I would like to invite him for dinner, but I am not telling him my deepest, darkest secret.
Okay. Well, I say I'm not going to answer the question because it's too informed by book plot, so I feel like it would be spoilery. But I will answer this next question, which is okay. So you want to invite him for dinner? Would you invite him? We did our dream blunt rotation. I know you don't smoke. We did our dream blunt rotation with the Silo 18 people, but who would be your dream blunt rotation from the Before Times leak?
Okay, so I'm going to completely reverse myself here. It would be Per Stenson and Henry because I want to get. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't be Henry given what I said before because he might have. I think my sense of it was he had his issues. So it would be Per Stenson. It would be Anna and Charlotte just to see what happens, just to see where that goes. And actually Daniel and Helen for the same reason. By the way, if this is a thing, they could go on double dates.
They could. They could. Um, yeah, I for my dream blunt rotation Before Times League edition, I think I would go. I think I would go with Paris Denson, Helen, Charlotte, and Anna, just because I think this would be the best banter combination.
Yeah. Also, you know that Per Stenson has spoke to blunt the size of a fence post. Like he
Oh,
can,
I'm sure
he can
he
handle his
smokes made
weed.
up drugs we've never heard of. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to swap storylines and check in on Silo 18. All right. So this is the part where the story web is tangled. So we're going to try to pull out one thread at a time and talk about that entire thread at once. Starting with a secret sortie, and I haven't forgotten your definition. We'll come back to that of that word. But Juliet Nichols, Rebecca Ferguson, has been prepping Lucas Kyle, Avi Nash, and Patrick Kennedy, Rick Gomez, for a secretive pre-dawn departure from the silo, instructing them to go to Silo 17 and not only get the kids and Jimmy, but also figure out how Jimmy's parents once stopped the safeguard from being implemented there. Leaving Lucas and Patrick in the care of Deputy Jerry, Liam Akpan, she also instructs Jerry to get team hacker Danny Bly, Will Merrick, to shut down the screens in the cafeteria so that the two men can slip out unnoticed. Danny shows up with the other two outsiders, Kathleen Billings, Caitlin Zaz, and Sandy Chipo Chung, who are filled in. In the meantime, Robert Sims, Common, has slipped out of the house in the weed pre-dawn hours for a clandestine meeting with Juliet. He tells her water filtration is currently being guarded, and he suspects that means the vitamin D plus release has happened. He warns her that the effects should begin quickly and that she should find other pre-bottled ways to get in her liquids, avoiding the water in the taps. He also tells her that he's being followed and he has to break off contact for everyone's protection. This news triggers Juliet to move up the exit plan to immediately. Martha Walker, Harriet Walter, arrives to see the two men off with instructions on using the radio to keep in contact. When Lucas and Kennedy reach the Sea of the Dead guarding Silo 17, they begin to hear a buzzing noise, and then gunfire is heard through the radio. Lucas yells at Kennedy to run, and the radio cuts, and Juliet is later told that the men have not made it. But after chewing on our nails for the entirety of the episode, finally, there is radio contact. It's Patrick Kennedy checking in. So, this whole plot line, were you like... I mean, it's, as far as the episode was going on, I was still distracted by all the other things going on, obviously, but I was also watching, like, how much time is left because we need to hear from these guys.
Yeah, no, I did think that they were gonna be really evil and leave us hanging for a whole week to find out whether Lucas and Patrick survived. They didn't, as it turns out. But I think this, in terms of tinfoil hat theory, this part of the plot gives us a lot to chew on, because I am assuming that buzzing noise was drones. We know that there was gunfire. So presumably those drones were sent out by whoever or whatever is residing in Silo 1. So we know a couple of things about Silo 1. We know that it supplies electricity to the IT departments in all the other silos. or at least provides reserve electricity to all the other silos. We know that it is in contact with the voice, with the algorithm in all the other silos, and we know it has the ability to deploy and presumably recover drones. So I think we can take that as meaning that Silo 1 is substantially bigger than the other silos, that it has access to superior technology to the other silos. Is there anything else? I mean,
I will neither confirm nor deny these suppositions.
okay. So what I wonder is there like a ultimate bad baddie, the ultimate head of IT in Silo 1, and they are controlling all of this? Or do the general population of Silo 1, if they exist, are they all in on it, is what I'm saying? Are there like 10,000 or more people in Silo 1 that are not living, that are, if this idea is, if this is all a social experiment, are they the group that knows what's going on, knows what the silo was built for and why, doesn't have the pack, doesn't have the order? Does that mean there are a group of survivors of whatever Holocaust caused people to move into the silo who actually know what the deal is?
Okay.
And you can neither confirm nor deny any of that.
No, I will neither confirm nor deny any of that. But I think you're asking great questions, and I'm glad you're asking them out loud.
Okay.
Let's jump back to the to Sims. So when we see him, we'll do a whole other section about his drama with Camille this episode. But just to talk about how the episode begins, it's notable that it opens on Anthony's face sleeping the entire episode. That's the first thing we see is Anthony Oscar Coleman. And just a reminder that I think it's a reminder that Robert Sims, but also his wife, is doing this all for their son. Everything, even though they're pitted against each other, as we see particularly come to a head this episode, they are doing it in the way for the same reasons. They just have different ideas about what needs to be done. And they also, of course, have access to different but similar sets of information. Like, I think they don't realize, or she probably doesn't realize how much of what she knows he does know because of the Bernard of it all. But
yes.
But yeah, it's just interesting. They want the same things, but they still can't get there on the same page. But we'll do a whole section on them. I just think that was a very marked opening shot that was on Anthony, because I guess it's also about future generations of the Silozins in general is basically what this is all for. Whatever.
Yeah, but to paraphrase Tyrion Lannister, your love for your children is your one redeeming feature. And I kind of feel that about Robert and Camille actually at this point.
You said you're coming around on him though.
I don't know. I kind of like there are moments in this episode where I'm kind of coming around on him, and there are moments where I'm definitely not. Okay. I'm like, Jean, don't at me. I'm going through some stuff with Robert Sims. Just don't at me.
Working through your feelings.
Exactly.
I did think it was interesting when he was sneaking out to meet Juliet. He's like, we see him kind of like hiding from the raiders, but he knows the cameras are there. Like he says he knows the cameras are there, but I guess it was important enough that this meeting happened and they chose somewhere where he wouldn't be seen. But it was rich of him to go back and pretend to have been in bed the whole time when his wife could see he's been walking around the silo in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But I think what I take away from this, we had the whole discussion, especially in our feedback episode. We had a big discussion about theories people had about the barrels being swapped out, the vitamin D plus barrels before they reached water filtration. And I think that this episode confirms that Sims did not do that. But
yeah,
Robert Sims didn't do that, but I do not rule out at this point Camille Sims having done it. What do you think?
I all along I've thought if anybody swapped them out, it would have been Camille. Because I just go back to that line in episode 6 about the algorithm not having arms or legs. I don't know. I think Camille was trying to. I don't know whether she was trying to tell Juliet something or whether she was trying to tell the audience something. But there is. I think there was more to that line than just Lukas and Patrick.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I'm sort of 50-50 on this. Because I certainly think Camille would want to outsmart the algorithm, the voices they call it, if she could. But I'm not convinced that she thinks she can.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, like, yeah, like literally either outcome to me is equally plausible at this point.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. And I mean, and I do. I just find it so sad for the Simses that they're both all alone in this. Like and Camille, in a way, it's even worse for her because she really feels like she has all the weight of this on her shoulders. Although I'm sure,
Yeah, because
because at
she
least the
does.
Silo Avengers have each other, even if Sims can't have contact with them per se.
Yeah, because she doesn't. She doesn't even have a. She doesn't even have a shadow.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just her and the voice dealing with it.
I'm surprised actually that the voice hasn't insisted she name a shadow at some point.
Maybe it's still too precarious.
Maybe, but let's say from the voice's point of view, let's say she falls ill or falls down or just refuses to cooperate. There's nobody else left. The whole point of the shadow system, as I understand it, is that there is always somebody ready to step up, take on a role, if the person doing that role can't do it anymore.
Yeah, maybe it would just be, I mean, because it feels like the algorithm is on the brink of initiating the safeguard and just killing the silo regardless. So
That's true.
maybe.
By the way, are we calling it the voice or are we calling it the algorithm?
I'm calling what's literally the thing. So when I say the voice, I mean the voice that's speaking, and when I say the algorithm, I mean these calculations we keep seeing happening about that if Juliet does this, then the silo has this % chance of surviving, that sort of thing. So
Okay.
and then we got a lot of like trailer moments in this episode, including we finally got an answer to what Sims meant when he said to Juliet, whatever you're going to do it now. And that was the whole project, send Lukas and Patrick outside. Patrick, though, I was totally overestimating his logic skills.
Yeah.
He's being a total ass.
Yeah, like but I am definitely shorting stocks in Patrick this week. Like, just stop being such an ass.
He's like got his full on conspiracy theories vibe going. He thinks that trumps the lived experiences of these people around him. Like just Lucas's responses when Patrick's like, "No, I think it's all a lie," and Lukas is like, I tried. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, just like we said for the last few weeks, Lukas has like his fucks have just gone. Like he just like. I know more than anybody in this place apart from Bernard, and I just can't be bothered explaining it to you people anymore. You'll either believe me or you won't.
But he does have fucks in the important places. Like when Patrick is being an ass, Lukas volunteers to go alone. But Juliet, she wants them both to go in case one dies, hopefully not foreshadowing. And Lukas calls Patrick out. I like this. He's like, I don't get you. You spent 3 months screaming, let us out, and now you don't want to go out? So, and Patrick responds basically by calling himself the most selfish bastard in the silo and says he doesn't give a shit about the rest of it. I want to go anywhere but another fucking hole in the ground. And the last part, I sympathize with.
Yeah, but get the kids back to Silo 18 first, Patrick, and then you can do whatever the hell you want. But
yeah. I mean, the deal is Juliet says if Patrick can get Lukas at least to 17, he's free to do whatever he wants from there. And, he can go see for himself if the world is really dead everywhere. But I think if I were Patrick, like and I got Lukas 217, and I just learned that other silos existed. I would want to take a peek inside first. Like, you can always leave from there. Obviously, he does go inside, we hear later,
Yeah.
but Patrick says it's different for him than, say, Kathleen, because he and Danny saw that video, the video from the hard drive of the cleaning that we know is a false video with the fake birds. But to Patrick, he was just so convinced, even though Juliet, who's like, oh yeah, I remember now, that's a fake video. Patrick is still like, la, 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 la. No, it's green out there. It's just, I think he's an example. We'll come back to this theme later, but I think there's this theme, like, and we also got that in the Mystery of the Pez book about hope and the question of whether hope is a sustaining force or a destructive force.
Yeah.
If it makes you pursue things that are dangerous. And I think we're seeing Patrick here representing hope as a destructive force, where he just won't listen to reason because his hope is taken over.
Yeah, I think I think that's right. But also, I do think like the the whole thing. I just want to go anywhere, but not another fucking hole in the ground. I think it is hope, but it's also, from his point of view, it's a weird mixture of hope and despair, because I genuinely don't think he cares very much what happens to him. I think he just wants out. He just wants to know what's going on. And there's a whole scene later on where they're talking about dear departed Doris.
Yeah. Well, so let's get into it. So I do still really enjoy the banter between Patrick and Lukas. We're like, what's going on? Kathleen asks. I'm going out. Patrick says, and then Lukas is like, we're going out. He's like, yeah, we're going out. Yeah, fine. But it was nice to see, because Patrick brought Danny into all of this in season 1 as a friend. So it was nice to see the basis of that friendship. And we see Danny is a bit more reasonable in this regard. He's like, I just don't know what to believe, basically. But then, indeed, as you said, he reminded Patrick of dear darling dead Doris and said she would be excited for him. So do you want to talk more about that conversation?
Yeah, it's just you get an insight into Patrick and Doris Kennedy's relationship. Or actually, I shouldn't have said that, because I don't know if they're married or not. But you get an insight.
They were married. He said his wife before, right?
Yeah, actually, yes, he did. So yeah, you get an insight into their relationship, and that Doris was just as much of an outsider as Patrick is, and I don't mean outsider in the sense of wanting to go out, although that too. But I mean, they were like thoroughly alienated from the mainstream of Silo 18 society, and they were quite happy. They were quite happy not going along with the consensus, basically. And you can tell that Patrick really, really loved Doris. Like, for him, like, she was the smartest person he ever met, kind of thing. And they just seem to have complemented each other really well. If I get my Allison and Holston spin-off, I want to see Patrick and Doris Kennedy in there as another couple as well.
Yeah. Well, it was nice to get this. I mean, I did wonder if we would find out more, because we got a greater sense of her here, where, he says she'd only talk like that if she had a couple of drinks in her, Patrick said. And Danny says, Doris wouldn't actually say she wanted to go out. She was smarter than that. She was smarter than anybody, Patrick says. And said if she was ever sent out, she'd go out singing happy to be free, even just for 1 fucking minute. So it's like, in a way, his irrationality is in memory of his wife.
Yeah, partly.
Well, some suit techs show up in this scene to help the two get ready to go out, which first of all, I'm like, more people in on the conspiracy. What are they being told? Who are they? I was mildly disappointed as a book reader that neither of them was introduced as Nelson, who's a suit tech in the book who plays a minor role in the 3rd book. It doesn't matter.
But yeah, it would almost be easier at this point to name people who weren't in on the conspiracy, to be honest.
Yeah. But it does. So Juliet, she switched after talking to Robert. She switched to urgent leave early mode, and I guess my guess, and tell me if you agree, is this is because she found out the forgetting drug is already in the water. And so she knows that the silo plans to make them all forget that the two men were even sent outside in the first place. Is that why you think that she decided, actually, we need to do this without Camille knowing?
Yeah, I think it was less specific than that because I go back to the Sims line about it being low and slow. So I don't think you would forget something as important as sending two people out very quickly.
Mm,
But yeah, she wants to speed this up to stop the forgetting drugs taking effect.
hmm Do you have any thoughts about when they wait to go out? And we've seen this before when Juliet went out and Holston and Allison. There's a sort of like mist or gas or spray that's released right before they go out. Is that like something about prepping the air or pressure?
Yeah, if we could get this in the next feedback episode, I assume it's the difference in pressure between the inside of the silo and the outside air.
Okay, could be,
But
could
yeah,
be.
if anybody wants to comment on that, please do because I'm nothing close to an engineer. So
Hmm. I loved Lukas and Patrick once they do get outside, and we see this sharp contrast where, of course, Lukas, Mr. Starman, is just overwhelmed by the night sky. Like it's definitely, it's better than we see where in the places where we live today. And yeah, what's the best view of the night sky you've ever had?
best view in the night sky. When I was in Australia and we did like a little driving tour into the outback, into the bush, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you look up and there are just millions of stars, and you can see like it's the only time with the naked eye that I've ever like really seen constellations really
Mm,
clearly. You were like hundreds of miles away from anywhere.
yeah.
It was it was an amazing experience.
Yeah. I'll say for me um it was Easter Island for sure, because then you're in the middle of the ocean and you look up and you see like pretty much like the colors of the Milky Way. The sky has a texture. It's so rich with detail. Um,
You've been to
yeah,
Easter Island. That's incredible. That's really cool.
yeah. You and I were talking about the eclipse that neither of us really got a chance to see yesterday, and I said
Yeah,
I saw, I saw a full eclipse a few years ago. For anyone who doesn't know, there was an eclipse on Thursday that was visible in Europe. Not a full eclipse, although, like I think in Spain they got pretty close. For example, somewhere
yeah.
it must have been full, but anyway, not up north where we are. But yeah, I didn't have time to go out and like take a peek at it. But I was saying to you, Luke, that I did get to see a full eclipse in South America a few years ago. And so when I was in Chile for the eclipse, and then I just looked up like what would it cost to just fly over to Easter Island for a few days. And the flight itself was only 300, so I decided to jump on it. And it was like kind of off season, so I was really glad that I did it. It's one of my favorite places I've ever been.
That's amazing.
And I got to see really cool night sky.
Yeah,
But of course, for Lukas, yeah, it's like he's like it's a lot bigger than I expected, which is an interesting contrast with Patrick, who's not looking up the sky, but he's looking around at the ruined Earth around him, and he says, "It's just nothing. There's just nothing," and it's just such a clear difference
yeah,
in their characters.
yeah.
Hmm. I'm sorry that I put this in the notes, but I have to ask, did you wave to Holston and Allison when they passed them on the hill?
I did not wave to Holston and Allison, but I did have a I had a quiet moment of reflection.
Yeah. Oh, oh,
Yeah, because they're looking distinctly worse for wear. Bless them.
yeah, yeah. I'm afraid. Nobody's roll calling them or putting it. Yeah, the APB is out on them. They've been found.
No, no. There's not going to be a Gloria. They're not going to do a Gloria or a Danny. They are dead. They are
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah. But the worst horror show is Over the Hill when they find the Silo 17 bodies. And I thought both actors, I'm sure they were looking at nothing, but they did a great job of portraying the horror of seeing a sea of corpses that they have to wade through in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think this. What did you think about? So for most of the episode, we are told that they were just dead. I didn't believe it for a second. Did you?
No, I was. I mean, we still don't know if Lukas is okay, but I was always confident that they weren't going to kill off Lukas. I was less confident about Patrick Kennedy because it did feel more like a natural end to his story arc, and I'm still not sure he makes it back to Silo 18. But I'm pretty convinced that Lukas is too interesting and too integral a character to be killed off at this point.
Yeah, Juliet's response to this whole thing, she believes it, but it's anger is her response, which is very Juliet of her. But Caitlin Zaz Kathleen is the one who almost made me cry. I was like, I know Lukas isn't dead, but when you cry like that, I want to cry like that too.
Yeah.
But okay, here's some questions. So we hear, all right, so we know they have the radios, they have their secret channel. They don't have video feeds, as I was positing in our episode 6 breakdown that maybe they do. Is just blank visors. Fine, they have radio contact on their private channel and code names where Martha is Dispatch, Lukas is Deputy Turley, Juliet is Crane, Patrick is Kelso, and Teddy in Silo 18 also gets the code name Donnie. So that it sounds like if Silo 1 listens in, it sounds like it's just random people in some other silo talking to each other. Although I do wonder, they must be on to them because we hear this buzzing, as you said, and you're assuming it's drones. It sounds like drone buzzing.
Yeah.
But what did you think about the fact that in the wasteland, there seemed to be a swarm of gnats in the light of the flashlight?
Yeah, that's interesting because it does mean that some life can survive in whatever has happened to the atmosphere. And also, like, as far as I know, like gnats don't, respire anaerobically, so there is oxygen left in the atmosphere.
If they really are gnats. I just said that. It's not, yeah.
If they really are gnats.
I'm not.
But yeah, no, that would be interesting because it does mean that there is the atmosphere is capable of supporting some type of life, even if it's not capable of supporting human life.
If that is what it is, yeah.
If that is what it is.
Do you think, I guess Camille probably believes that they haven't really made it to the other silo because the voice told her so. But what does the voice think happened? Like, are there cameras out there? If those were drones, are there cameras on the drones? Like, the voice must know they're not really dead, right?
Yeah, yeah, I would think so. I can't imagine why would they. If they are drones? Why would there not be cameras on them? Like that. That just makes no sense.
Yeah, no, probably you're right. Yeah, probably there's cameras on the drones. Yeah.
So the only thing I'm thinking is maybe that feed goes to Silo 1, and Silo 1 gets to edit what the AIs in the other silos see.
I mean, Camille didn't see anything, so I'm asking.
No. So I'm saying that they might have edited it for the voices.
Oh, the voice doesn't know what really happened.
Yeah,
so someone else, like the voice's boss or something.
Exactly, like the whatever it is sitting in Silo 1 might be able to edit the camera footage for the benefit of the algorithm, the voice.
Or the voice just could be lying, but then
the voice could just be lying, yeah.
but then to what end? Yeah. And I wonder what
Yeah.
channel are they on? Are they on 17? Because then, like, if Silo 1's monitoring, I guess Silo 1 wouldn't necessarily check in on a dead channel, but if they did, they would be surprised to hear people talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, or like clearly, if they do, they've decided that the kids in Silo 17 aren't any kind of an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like kids on the radio. It sounds like adults doing adult things,
Oh, yeah.
doing repairs and normal silo activities.
No, sorry, I got confused. I thought you were talking about the cameras inside Silo 17.
No, I think those are gone.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I think like I assume, like I said in the books, there was cameras when it went down, but those just kind of stopped working over the decades in between. So it would make sense to me that it just stopped working and
Yeah,
Silo 1 just, it's like
yeah,
Silo's dead. Check. Although
yeah.
now they've heard that there are kids there.
Yeah,
But
now that it does kind of worry me that maybe somebody from Silo 1 is sending, they might pump more gas in, or, well, they can't. Well,
yeah,
maybe they can because it's not blocked anymore, but,
maybe why would it stop being blocked?
well, I'm just thinking it's been like at least a couple of decades probably, so whatever was blocking it might have fallen out or deteriorated, I guess.
But it might not have.
It might
Yeah.
not have. Yeah. So yeah, it does kind of raise the interesting question. Assuming whoever or whatever is in Silo 1 is behind all this, would they then send somebody or something to eliminate the kids?
Oh, that's scary. Yeah. Good to see Deputy Jerry accounted for and indeed
Yeah.
not punished for not wardening Juliet well.
Oh, he's definitely on Team Juliet now.
For sure.
He is yet another conspirator.
Although I wonder, with the way he's allowed to continue to be on Team Juliet despite not like watching her well, I wonder if Camille is has that because she thinks like she can get information from him later or something like that.
Yeah, that's perfectly possible.
He might be an unknowing sleeper spy or something.
I don't think Jerry would make a very good spy, but he might make quite a good unknowing one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the best exchange this episode was Patrick was like when Martha's giving the radio instructions and Patrick's like an annoying kid, like, hey, are you going to be able to hear me? And Martha's like, I hope not.
No, I'm sorry. The best exchange this episode is definitely the one about the unicorn.
Okay, fair.
From earlier on.
All right, best Silo 18 exchange this episode.
Okay.
But this exchange just goes to emphasize that it was supposed to be Lukas that she heard from. And so it's Patrick who's on the radio at the very end of the episode. And he says, we had a little bit of a situation here, but the kids are all right. But he says nothing about Lukas. And then later we do see Juliet picks up the radio to talk to Kennedy. And I presume she's about to ask about Lukas. So I'm sure we'll find out next episode, but it is worrying that he didn't respond.
All I will say is, based on what I've seen on Blue Sky, Abby will not be happy if Lukas has bit the dust. You're going to have a pretty explosive book club there.
I mean, I don't think any of us really. I think it's, not even a book spoiler thing to say. I think we all doubt that he would be dead.
Yes, no. I think it would be eliminating an interesting character before their time.
But presumably, he is at least gravely wounded or seriously wounded.
Possibly, yeah.
So I said that we would circle back to your definition of a sortie as you laid out, which is that you must make it back. So I call this the secret sortie, and the question is, do we think they'll make it back? Will Lukas, Jimmy, Patrick, and the kids be able to get back physically, algorithmically, Silo 1 Ellie? What do you think will happen to them from here?
I think for the final 3 episodes of season 3, there's a very good chance that they are stuck in Silo 17. And I could see a scenario where Lukas is using the vault and all the things in it in Silo 17, the archive, I can't remember what they call it, to figure out a way to get
The
home.
legacy.
The legacy. Because
Okay.
presumably, like, well, actually, we know that like iPad thing that
Mm-hmm.
Bernard showed Lukas in season 2. We know that there is a similar thing in Silo 17, and he could use it that way.
Yeah, we don't know if that's still functional, though, if the algorithm shut down over there.
That's true.
So they might only have things that are physically, like the books that were physically on the shelves and things like that in the other side.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. All right. This is a good place for a quick pause. And when we come back, we will get into that separation between the Sims. All right. A separation between the Sims. Robert was back in bed from his meeting with Juliet before his wife, Camille, Alexandria Riley, stopped by. But they both knew she knew that he was still up to things. Her key fob soon buzzes. The voice is paging her to notify her that Lukas and Patrick, quote unquote, have been neutralized. The voice tells her that it knows Juliet is trying to stop the safeguard, but Silo 17, the sea of bodies outside of it, is proof that she cannot. That silo only bought themselves an extra moment before they too died. The voice asks her to find out whether this really is Juliet's plan. Camille tells Juliet the men had a suit malfunction, and Juliet lies to Camille, saying she's not hiding anything either. Saving the kids was her only plan, and she doesn't know what happened to Silo 17 to make it like this. Meanwhile, it's picture day at Anthony's school, and Camille insists he wear a jacket to look sharp. Robert is against the idea if Anthony is, until Sandy shows up at his door to ask for passes for judicial for a plan they want to enact, which we will get back to separately in a bit. Now, Rob suddenly insists his son bring a jacket to school after all, just in case, to please his mother, while Sandy runs to get a new jacket for him from recycling. She drops the new jacket off at school, trading it for Anthony's old jacket, which she explains to his teacher no longer fits. Running back downstairs with the jacket, Team Silovengers finds the requested passes in the pocket. But when Anthony gets home, Camille, of course, clocks that it's a different jacket he's carrying. She asks Rob to go with her after dinner to judicial seclusion where Nurse Amy, Jacqueline Berses, is being kept, looking rather beat up. She wants him to be witness to a round of questioning. But really, she wants to have a private confrontation. She's mad he used their son in his Silovenger games. She's mad he hasn't stopped whatever he's up to. She pulls a gun and points it at Amy, demanding the truth. Rob admits he's done worse, but says their son deserves at least one non-murdering parent. So, we've been worried about this couple all season. I guess this is peak worry. Can they come back from this brink?
Not only that, but early in that scene you described earlier on, Juliet and Camille are literally both ready to shoot the other.
True. Yeah.
Looks like they're ready to shoot the other anyway.
They have hands on guns. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tensions are at a peak. And I just want to say the whole thing about what the voice said about the safeguard not working. Like, yes, it's true. There's a sea of dead outside of Silo 17. But, and granted, Camille says she doesn't know if she believes Juliet on this. But there are people still alive inside.
Yeah, so the safeguard didn't work completely.
Right. Yeah. Or, yeah, it still hasn't been made clear what that is, but whatever it is didn't happen at all inside, and it's only the people who went outside who died, it seems, or didn't last. But no, it seems, I mean, we know there were people wandering around inside for decades because that's where the kids' parents were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we still, like you say, we still don't know how many. I mean, it did, if you go back to the first episode of season 2, it did look like the majority. And probably the large majority of people left Silo 17, but certainly not all of them.
But it's because they went outside, like whatever they did to present the safeguard inside didn't magically make it safe for them to go outside as they might have hoped.
Yes.
Because again, the green was still a lie. Camille, I think back to Camille in the end of season 1 when she let Juliet go after she broke into their house to use the hard drive because she needed a judicial connection. And I thought at the time, and I still think that Camille did it out of empathy as much as anything else. But now she's gone full cold. Like she tells Juliet, 2 of your friends died. That's what happens when you rush because which is rich of her. Okay, she's saying that because Juliet, sent them out before the dawn planned upon time. But Camille knows full well that they were going to be killed and that the best opportunity for their survival was to send them out ahead of time before the assassins were lined up.
Yeah, but then Juliet's response is equally oof.
Yeah, we should have had more time to make the suits bulletproof. But that's the question: is she heard the gunfire because they were talking to them on the radio, but the voice didn't tell Camille about it. He just said neutralized the voice.
Yeah.
It just said neutralize the voice. They did make the voice sound male. There's been jokes about that. It's such a Saruman thing to do. Yeah. So the question is, did going early actually save them in the end, regardless? Because it gave, at least we know Patrick got inside and presumably they had a head start to do that. Like maybe they got further than they would have before.
Yeah.
Whatever the assassin squad was like, oh shit. Drones or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, but I do wonder how they survived. Like, did they, if there's gun shooting, I guess they were far enough away they could make a run for it?
Yeah, maybe, but it's not because they would still have to is the door to the top of Silo 17 still open or did it close after Juliet left?
I mean, it was propped open. She had to pry it open a bit, but it was already somewhat propped open by some dead bodies.
Yeah, but she did have to force it open quite a bit. So I'm just wondering, is it since she left, is it properly open?
Yeah, because she did leave again. But on the one hand, you would think she would want to close it behind her. I guess we didn't see her do that though. I think in the book, the thing when she went back, it was just more about making sure that the cafeteria had the up top cafeteria had layers to protect from the outside air getting in because the door was just blown. I mean, not blown, but just you that door don't work no more.
Yeah. It's not a door anymore. It ceased to be a door.
Right. Just a partial obstacle. But yeah, I hope we see what happened from that, but I don't know. From a practical filming standpoint, that might be an expensive and difficult shot to show them action style getting in. But I still hope a little bit for it next episode. If we don't get it next episode, I don't think we will. But I think we will find out next episode what happened there.
Yeah, let's hope so. I really hope. And to be fair, Silo doesn't usually do this. It doesn't usually leave cliffhangers hanging too long. It normally resolves them quite expeditiously.
Yeah, and we did, I was worried as we got toward the end of the episode that we weren't going to hear back from them and they were just going to let us think they were dead for a week. So I was glad that we at least got Patrick being
Yeah.
But he can't talk. He has to talk in code. So, but then we also saw Juliet pointedly pick up the radio to talk to him. So that I'm assuming we'll pick right up from that conversation with her being like, so what happened to whatever Lukas's code name was? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
The kids are all right. What about their parent, meaning Jimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming Steve's on next episode. Gotta be, right? Gotta be.
Please. I just want to know he's okay. Bless him.
Yeah. I do. What if they did like a flashback for episode 8 of what's meanwhile in Silo 17. This is what's been happening.
Oh,
And then we have to wait
I
until
guess
the end of the
I,
episode to find out like how Patrick and stuff got in.
I guess that would be cool, but we've only got 3 episodes left this season. Let's crack on, people. Let's move it along. Keep the pace up
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the pace is quite good personally, but we haven't gotten anything from Silo 17. So I hope that they will give us some, at least catch us up with a montage, an opening montage.
Yeah, even Rocky had a montage. Montage.
They can play Eye of the Tiger while they. No, I'm just kidding. But back in Silo 18, it's picture day, as I said, at Anthony's school. And we saw, apparently they do this every 5 years and they literally paint a class portrait because of course they do. Most people don't have cameras.
Yeah. Although getting a bunch of kids to sit still for that long is going to be a bit of a challenge.
Although we saw the last portrait from 5 years earlier, there were 2 teachers. It looks like, I was trying to look up the names. It looked like a Ms. Lawson maybe and a Ms. Brooks. And I was trying to see, I was like, Lawson, that feel like somebody's last name was Lawson, but I couldn't find it. I did find there was a Deputy Brooks in one episode of season 1. So that was at the up top sheriff station. So it could be, that was a man. This could have.
So this could have been, it could have been a relation.
Yeah, it could have been a relation or a wife or something. Anyway, but the teacher we saw Sandy talking to was a man, was someone else, and seemed like a youngish man. So like 5 years earlier, he probably would have been a teenager, maybe. So
yeah.
But it was interesting. There were the 2 teachers and only 6 kids in the portrait. So it made me wonder, like, how many schools are in the silo? Are they also sparse, or is this an up top thing? Because we've seen larger groups of kids being led around elsewhere. So I don't know.
And also, it did sort of make me wonder, like, how many years are you in school before you are sort of farmed out to a particular role and shadowing somebody.
Yeah, and maybe that depends because we know from the Mystery of the Pez book that Sims joined judicial at 18, so maybe that's a thing. You graduate at 18 and join your But if Anthony got kicked out of school, he would be kicked straight to supply.
So maybe it's an up top down deep thing that they're in school for different lengths of time.
And it's also interesting. I think this was the same when we saw Anthony's classroom a few episodes ago. I think it was also labeled then the Daisy's classroom, which is what his school portrait from 5 years ago was labeled Daisy's classroom. So it seems like you just stay in the same class as you age. It's not like this is, your first grade class and then you switch for the next year or something.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes sense because there's probably not that many kids in the silo, really.
Yeah, and also, space is at a premium as well, so.
Yeah. But I wonder if class size is much smaller in the up top. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised. It would very much sort of fit in with the social structure that's been established.
Yeah. But yeah, I felt for Anthony, he's at that age where you want to be cool and not a kiddie. So he's like throwing a temper tantrum about the jacket. And when he gets home, he's upset that he's the only one who even brought a jacket, which obviously isn't really a big deal. He could just not wear it. His dad told him you can just not wear it. But I don't think that's what he's really upset about, actually. It's not about the jacket.
He's just upset about the entire situation.
And I don't think, and it's the jacket and Anthony is just another reason for Robert and Camille to bicker over their son. Like, it's about control. It's about who's controlling things. Like Robert says, don't make him. And she says, this is your decision now. And he says, I was thinking it was his. And she's like, fine, whatever. And stalks off. Yeah. Oh, the Simses. And then right after she stalks off, I hope she at least was smart enough to wait. I guess that's why the timing is the timing. She waited until Camille left. Sandy comes knocking at the door and I'm like, Sandy, this seems stupid. I guess Sandy's known as a member of. We've seen her in judicial gear. We know she used to work for the deputy's office. So I guess like it could be she's visiting in an official capacity, and she's obviously not known publicly as an outsider. Maybe or maybe not Camille in the voice. I guess not, because they didn't know who the outsiders were. But it still
Yeah.
seems dumb for her to come knocking on the door, right?
But also, I think it's desperate circumstances call for desperate measures kind of thing.
Hmm.
They sort of feel like they're running out of time to prevent the safeguard. So yes, it is dumb, but I also think that they are kind of running out of options.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think Robert is rightfully mad about it. Although
Yes.
that might, although Juliet said there's no camera in there, I guess Robert told them that. But Anthony's there. Anthony knows that she came to visit, and now he sees
Yeah.
that his dad's mad about it. Like,
Yeah.
would he tell his mom, or is he maybe feeling closer to his dad than his mom these days?
I don't know. That is a very good question. The honest answer is I don't know.
I mean, Anthony knows the jacket plan changed when Sandy showed up, but he didn't need to tell his mom about that because as soon as Robert handed Camille the other jacket, I was like, I know moms, and there's a 0% chance she won't notice that's a different jacket. And of course she did.
Yeah. It's for
Yeah.
all of 2 seconds.
And this is also where we get the specifics that Sandy climbed 100 levels to ask for these judicial passes favor thing. And then later we see her back downstairs out of breath. And then Teddy says, "You okay?" And she says, "You know, the last time I did that many stairs in one day? Never. I've never done that." So, jetpacking acknowledged. Are we all okay now?
Yeah, it's not jetpacking, it's just a lot of cardio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was leg day for her.
Yeah.
Now I said in the summary that it was recycling that Sandy got the jacket from, but was it? Like, I don't think it was the marketplace. It was just kind of people standing in the corridor making trades. It looked almost
Yeah, no, I just thought it was like
clandestine,
some sort of informal.
like a black market. Oh.
Not a black mark. I didn't take it as a black mark. I just thought it was like some informal place where people could come and trade, odds and ends.
Yeah. Maybe the market's too far down, probably, and this is like up toppers can quickly do things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got our Nurse Amy answer. So I guess there was no memory drug, in the jab that she gave Emerson, because Nurse Amy sure got in trouble for it.
Yeah, do you think Camille would actually have gone through? Had Robert not talked her down, do you think she would have gone through with it? Do you think she would have killed Amy?
I'm a Camille apologist, so I'm going to say no.
I think she might. I think she might have.
I don't know. I don't think she did. I think the reason she pointed it at her is because she's trying to emphasize to her husband, like, these games you're playing, whatever you and the Silent Avengers are doing, they have real consequences. And she told him, like, I might have to do something to you. And I think she's nearing worry of that becoming real. And so she's trying to emphasize, with bringing him there in the first place, with pointing the gun at Amy, she's trying to emphasize, like, you are the one who put Amy in this position. This is your fault because you won't stop doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And so I don't think she would have gone through with it personally, but obviously I think your interpretation is going to be based on what you think of Camille at this point.
I think there was a 50-50 chance she would have gone through with it. I certainly think she is reaching the end of her tether.
Yeah.
Like she has been under pressure from like the first minute of this season, and I think she is starting to crack.
All right. Well, speaking of people who are trying to get other people to crack, let's maneuver through a minefield of machinations where Sheriff Paul Billings, Chinaza Uche, and Deputy Hank Murphy, Billy Postlethwaite, continue their intersecting investigations into the murder of Orla Kent and thefts from Critical Supply with a visit to head of the mines Ed Harwood, Ned Dennehy. Billings tells Harwood that they believe Orla was killed before her body was brought into the mines, but he doesn't know how it was moved. Harwood responds with a story about a man in the silo who used to put on magic shows for kids until he was arrested and sent to the mines one day and died there. The end.
Yeah, that was dark.
Yeah. Feelings about Billings, Hank, and Harwood at this point?
I've got to say that scene really does hammer home in a way that I don't think we've seen in all 3 seasons up until this point. Just what a police state the silo actually is. We kind of know it, but the idea that you can literally be arrested for a thought crime, is we sort of hadn't seen that before, and this idea that it was what was the phrase?
The theoretical relic.
A theoretical relic, like that.
Magic is a theoretical relic. Yeah,
that is properly sinister, and like Ed Harwood clearly enjoys being a jailer, but I did think that his sort of, he has a sort of weird empathy with the people that are sent to the mines. So I think he both kind of gets off on the authority, but also realizes the system in which he is a cog is is an evil system. And I thought the line about there are 6 men and 2 women that are so criminal they deserve to be down here, something along that line. I really want to meet those 8 people, and I want to know what they've done.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, have I gone too far?
No. You're right. You just answered a question I had in my head. No, keep going.
Yeah. So yeah, I really want to meet those 8 people and find out what they have done that is so heinous that even Ed Harwood acknowledges that there is no place for them but the mines. And I do think as well, when he's describing the rest of the people in the mines, he's describing like 95% of all criminals.
Right.
Like
mostly just people who did something stupid.
Mostly people that did something stupid. So this week I've been listening to an audiobook about a group of non-league English footballers that fixed football matches. It's written by a guy called Moses Swabu. He's one of the players, and basically this group of them becomes like attached to an illegal gambling syndicate who basically pay them to fix the outcome of games that the syndicate bets on. And like this whole story is just 3 guys who wanted to live the lifestyle of Premier League footballers but didn't have the talent to do that. And it just snowballs. They're not bad people per se, but they just get in way over their heads. And yeah, this whole scene and reading that book sort of, the 2 things sort of connected in my head. So if anyone's interested, the book is called Fixed, and the author is a guy called Moses Swabu.
Okay. Yeah. No, what you cleared up in my head was like, at first I thought he was saying they had 6 guys, 2 women total. I was like, damn, all those other recruits we saw the other episode died, but no, already. But no, you're right. He's saying 8 of them that are like that bad, and the rest are just dumbasses.
Yeah, there's no other place to put them, basically.
Yeah. It is. So he says about the magician who was arrested for his thought crimes. He says it would be more humane to hang people like him because basically he's physically soft or whatever. And I can't say that I agree with that, because he would have said the same thing about Lukas. And obviously, I'm glad that Lukas wasn't hung in instead of being sent to the mines.
That's fair.
And it did make me think, like, obviously Lukas and Harwood must have met. I would love to see them interact. I hope that we have a chance to see them interact at some point.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because he would have been like Lukas's jailer. And I'm sure Lukas is not one of the ones who necessarily impressed him. Like he's definitely not a miner through and through, he's tech guy.
Yeah, definitely.
About Orla, are they implying that her body was moved in a similar way that the light bulbs and rebar are being moved in these critical supply thefts?
Yeah, it would certainly make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it might be easier to move a body than to move the light bulbs and the rebar, to be honest, because it's probably it's probably lighter.
Hmm. And I'll say that there was someone on Blue Sky Bar pointed out that Lukas did say something about moving via shafts, and also
Yeah.
pointed out that the Glenda timestamps, there's 10 minutes apart, and indeed they I just went back and was watching that episode again, and indeed there's 10 minutes between the two timestamps when she's in supply and when she's in entering the mines. But okay, so the thing is, like, I think you and I both have been thinking a lot about these tunnels that are dug into the silo itself, not the mines, but like we saw Patrick and co escape through earlier this season, or that Nurse Amy took Juliet down a vertical tunnel. So they could be getting around that way, but something about the central shaft is still a question.
Yeah. 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 But also, like, if they were doing it that way, I'm still confused as to the timestamp because they couldn't move that. They surely couldn't move that quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the implication is maybe they could. I don't know. We shall find
But
out.
trying to move a body like that far down the silo in Denton, yeah,
Yeah, the body, no, but that was before the body was moved before the Glenda was caught on tape going down to mines.
okay. Again,
Um,
maybe, but it
I'm
seems
disinclined to blame Glenda for the murders, but I don't know. Maybe I'm being
we
too.
there really isn't another. It might not be Glenda, but there isn't another suspect on screen at the moment, as far as I
Yeah.
can see.
And Harwood, he admits he was upset about Orla taking Glenda's job, but he blames prejudice against his daughter based on origin. He's like, he's mad about it because he's like, she never had a shot because she came from the mines. And
Well,
that he's not wrong, because
he's not wrong.
Carla said basically she took the job from Orla and gave it to, took the job from Glenda and gave it to Orla because Orla was from Supply her whole life. So
Yeah,
yeah. And but when Harwood says he said his piece to Orla, as we saw in the first episode, and that was it. I'm again inclined to believe him. Like, I don't know. I just don't think he and Glenda are the murderers. But maybe they are the smugglers. But then wouldn't they be linked? And I don't know. Okay, I still don't know. I do love Harwood on screen. He's fun, like in terms of I don't know that I would want to spend a lot of time with him. He's not invited to my blunt circle, but he's fun to watch on screen. Well, first of all, he calls them out for, sounds like those cameras you said were being shut down weren't. Otherwise, how would you be so sure she didn't just walk up the stairs?
yeah, Ed, you've got him there. Yeah, you've got him there.
And then when they ask about respecting Billings, he says, fuck no. But about Juliet, at least she came from mechanical and had some dirt under her nails. But as sheriff, nah. But he did respect Holston because, and it's interesting, he respected him because he said Holston let things slide. If he caught an idiot doing something stupid, he let it slide. Though Billings points out Holston had 7 investigations going on into Harwood. But then that's the question. Did just not find anything about Harwood, or were these 7 minor things he just let slide?
Yeah, did Holston not find anything about Harwood?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Any other thoughts on Harwood and the mine plot? All right.
No, but I really want to meet those 8 people.
Right. Okay. Well, maybe we'll find them during our quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the end game of this episode. All right. Be right back. Remembering Forgetting. Juliet enters Martha's workshop where she finds Carla McLean, Claire Perkins, Deegan Knox, Shay McRae, Shirley Campbell, Remy Milner, Bernard Holland, Tim Robbins, and Teddy, Olatunji Aofi, waiting for her. Somebody give Teddy a last name, okay?
Yeah.
Teddy has a plan for the pipe, which we'll get back to in another section, but it leaves Juliet with the weight of a difficult decision. So Bernard calls in Regina, Sonita Henry, and asks if she knows where to find a diary that survived the scourge that followed the rebellion of 140 years ago. The diary of a man named Mission! Sorry. Regina locates the diary, and Bernard also has another person brought in to speak to Juliet, Gloria Hildebrandt, Sophie Thompson, the fertility coach turned memory drug patient that Elysia won't shut up about. Bernard explains that Gloria is a flame keeper, a keeper of the silo's forbidden relics, and thus dwindling memories of the before times. Gloria tells Juliet that George's mother, Anne Wilkins, was also a member of the order. Together, they share with Juliet Mission's diary, documenting the silo-wide memory reset that ended the Great Rebellion, but led to the death of 2,000 people. So I have to say, anyone who watched the previously on was probably a little less surprised by Gloria showing up because they did recap her in that. But you and I didn't get that when we watched the screeners.
No.
So how hard were you Leo pointing meme?
I was not pointing particularly hard because, like, you've been banging on about this for ages, and your savant-like ability to predict the return of characters, and also, frankly, I will be honest, I'd kind of forgotten. I would have appreciated that previously on because I'd kind of forgotten who she was a little bit.
Even though I've been banging on about, that's why I've been banging on about it.
Yeah. No, I knew who like the whole. I knew the flame keepers and the everything like that. The fertility coach thing. I'd kind of forgotten about, to be honest. But yeah. It did. I don't think it wins me internet points, but it might win me internet points. But I do think reading from Mission's journal pointed out the danger of the forgetting drugs and just how sideways this whole reset could send the silo. And like we talked about this before, it's not hard to imagine a scenario where the reset just goes horribly wrong and the silo loses so many people that it suffers like critical failure. Because one thing I thought was interesting about that passage talks a lot about people despairing with the memory drugs, but what it doesn't talk about, and what I would expect as well, is people turning on each other and becoming violent towards each other because they're so disoriented. They're so disorientated. So in Silo 18, 2,000 people died. I would not be surprised if like in another silo it could be like 8,000.
Okay, let's get into this since you brought it up. Let's set this up. I actually want to do, in this case, a direct comparison between the book and the passage you're referring to on the show. So just a reminder, or just to set the stage, this mission person I'm really excited about is the mission diary. It was funny, like, as soon, because I have subtitles on when I watch, and so as soon as they said the mission diary, they capitalized the M in mission. I was like, oh my god, they mean the person. But I assume most non-readers assumes like, oh, like a diary of someone's mission to do something, you know.
Yeah.
But Mission was a person, a porter who lived 140 years ago. And so the diaries is him recording all of his thoughts as the memory drug kicks in. And he also mentions an Allie. This, I would assume, is the same Allie who is the daughter of Salvador Quinn, who we've heard was the head of IT at the time, because he said his daughter was Allie. And I was like, oh, there's an Allie in the book, but wasn't the daughter of the head of IT. But anyway, so in the book version, Mission did have an Allie. But he actually spends most of his story in the book avoiding being with her because Mission left the farms to become a porter, and all the people in his life shipping him with Allie, it's sort of like his thought is that will drag me back to the farms, which I'm trying to get away from, my father and all this stuff. But after the whole rebellion thing, he is seriously wounded, and then it suddenly cuts to 3 years later, and this is what we get from the book, the end of the Mission part of the story, 3 years after the rebellion. And I'll just say, I have previously mentioned in an episode that Mission had a friend, Cam, who died, and he couldn't quite remember after the memory reset. So I'm going to mention Cam in here too. So here's an excerpt from the book. You know, she said, she being Allie, cutting into the roast, if it's a girl, because they're about to have a baby, we'll have to name her Allison. Every woman in my family, as far back as we can remember, has been an Allison. So this is why book readers always assume that Allison, our Allison of Holston, is a descendant of Mission.
Okay.
So to continue the passage, Mission wondered how far back her family could remember. It'd be unusual if they could remember very far. He chewed and thought on the name. Allison it is, he said, and he thought that eventually they would call her Allie too. But if it's a boy, can we go with Cam? Sure, Allie lifted her glass. That wasn't your grandfather's name, was it? No, I don't know any Cams. I just like the way it sounds. He picked up his glass of water, studied it a while. Or did he know a Cam? Where did he know that name from? There were bits of his past shrouded and hidden from him. There were things like the mark on his neck and the scar on his stomach that he couldn't remember coming to be. Everyone had their share of these things, parts of their bygone days they couldn't recall. But Mission had more than most. Like his birthday. It drove him crazy that he couldn't remember when his birthday was. What was so hard about that? And I'll say, yeah, the scar on his neck is, was like a kind of a suicide attempt at one point. The scar on his belly came during the rebellion, and the day the rebellion ended was Mission's birthday. So that's why that's part of the memories that he had to forget.
Yep.
So that's the book version. So to compare, the TV version is, we hear Gloria tells this story. This is reading from Mission's diary. I have a mark on my neck and a scar on my stomach, and I don't know where they came from. I feel like I did know, maybe even yesterday, but now I can't quite remember yesterday. I'm afraid. We've all forgotten so much. Doctors keep saying it's a virus and it'll pass, but it hasn't. Things keep slipping away, and anything I still remember has gone hazy, like in a dream. I don't know what I'd do without Allie. We each have each other, but people who live alone, I've heard they've stopped eating. And so many have jumped from the stairs that they've started hanging nets. I swear, if I ever forget Allie, I'll follow them over the side. And that was his last entry. So it seems like the TV version of even though Sim said low and slow, it doesn't seem as low or slow.
No, it seems quite full on. It seems quite fast and total.
Yeah. Whereas Mission, like, he didn't remember things that were, the authorities at B. He said he didn't remember more than most. Well, that's because he was involved in the rebellion. There's more that the powers that be wanted him to forget. But here it seems like, yeah, they are going more into a panic. As far as turning on people, I know some people do panic. We talked about being trapped in a car. And if I were in the situation of Daniel and Helen, I know some people said that they would panic. I would not. And I would hope that most people wouldn't. So for me, I just can't imagine, if I were suddenly forgetting things, I can't imagine myself lashing out in anger, but I'm sure some people would. But I don't think that would be the majority response.
Well, I just know from personal experience that people suffering from dementia can can get
Angrier.
can get angrier and sometimes sometimes a little bit violent.
Yeah, can get, but
Yeah.
I've known multiple people suffering from dementia, and maybe one of them would lose his temper at times, but in a yelling way, and the other would be annoyed but not
Okay.
angry. So I don't know.
Okay.
It's just, I think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
But yeah, this the I think a key. What did you think about the difference between the two versions?
I mean, the book version is obviously a bit more detailed. Um, I think the language in the TV version is made to be simpler, more direct. I wonder if they get Hugh Howey in to consult on stuff like this.
He does general consulting, but I don't mean
Yeah,
as far as the way it's written, as much as like what the implications for the world, for the
I
world in
think
which, yeah.
I think the implications are sort of broadly similar of both
Hmm.
passages. Um, I wonder whether we will start to see in episode 8, 9 that the memory drugs start to take effect on. I'm not thinking one of the main characters because Sims told him not to drink the water, but it's just like the people in the silo generally.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Carla. She almost accident.
Yeah, Carla was tempted.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I kind of get her in a certain way. For example, if we could feed right now in our present world, if we could feed the entire world vitamin D plus tap water, and people would just forget what they were fighting about, I can think of worse ideas. Like, it's better than the Thanos snap, you know?
Oh, oh my god, Elysia was going pro algorithm.
I'm just saying it's complicated. And I understand. I understand. The hashtag the algorithm was right. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying that yet.
I'm just saying that I understand why this thought is being put out there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can see where Carla is coming from.
Oh, anyway, we're just finishing up with Mission. I think, yeah, a big difference I see is that in the book, this part that I read is 3 years later, so it's like he's coming out of the memory fog, and they all as a silo are coming out of the memory fog and rebuilding new lives. So it's a different place, whereas here he's like, I'm losing my memory. I'm guessing, he said I would throw myself over the side if I forgot Allie. First of all, he would forget to throw himself over the side if he forgot Allie, but I'm assuming since they live together, he won't forget Allie because she's just there,
Yeah,
But he probably was hiding the diary somewhere and probably forgot about the diary, and that's probably why he stopped
yeah,
writing in it. But somebody else didn't, or it was hidden and found later. Maybe we'll find out the path of the
yeah.
diary. Yeah, and then just to shout out something else of a change with Mission is we are told in this case that he transported explosives to blow up the stairs. And in the book, the difference is he did not do that. He was almost tricked into doing that by who I call Mr. Wick, the IT dick, who I said Mr. Wick, called him a zero because he wasn't supposed to have been born and all this stuff. But basically, Mr. Wick wanted to trick a porter into carrying a bomb to blow up the stairs so that the rest of the silo would see the porters as terrorists and would turn on them, because the porters were kind of the ones organizing the rebellion in that case. So it actually ended that friend Cam, who he was having trouble remembering. Cam was the one who was tricked into carrying the bomb, unbeknownst to him, and it blew up, and it blew Cam up, and it blew the stairs up, and that was what kicked off the rebellion.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, so we know the diary was shared as a warning of how bad things can get with the silo-wide memory resets, and that as we said, it resulted in the death of 2,000 people, which is still better than 10,000 people, which is how many die with a safeguard. And so, again, I somewhat understand that Salvador Quinn chose memory reset over safeguard, but Bernard, interestingly, seems to think Quinn didn't question enough. But Bernard wouldn't have questioned enough before either, right?
No, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
And we still don't know what that notebook was either.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. So we find out that Bernard says there's two items that he and Robert sought the most. He calls them documents from a particular time, two different particular times, it turns out. So we've got this mission diary from 140 years ago. But then he also mentions a spiral bound notepad the previous heads of IT pursued for 300 years. So are we thinking this is the same notepad as in the Mystery of Pez short story?
Yeah, and I'm thinking it's Helen's.
Yeah. I went back and double checked, and indeed, she writes it has a spiral binding at the top, her little notepad.
Yeah, I think it's Helen's.
I think that's a good call. I think you're right. Yeah.
And I'm just picturing in my head a season 4, episode 10 thing where that's how they join the two halves of the story.
What, how so? Oh, with the notepad?
Yeah, with the notepad, in terms of like the maybe one of the final shots we see is Helen losing the notepad in one timeline and somebody finding it in the Silo 18 timeline. And that's how they kind of bring the two sides of the story together.
And I wonder what kind of notes are in it before it leaves her custody. Like, does it have notes in it about what she's about to find out with the NDA stuff?
Exactly.
Yeah. For Regina, she's the one being asked to like find this stuff, and she's now being asked to get relics for the man/men who held that threat over her head for years.
Yeah.
But do you think, well, we'll get back to Gloria in a second, but do you think Bernard is doing physically pretty well? He was actually standing up out on his own waiting for Juliet. I
think he was holding onto a cane, wasn't he? But yeah, he is standing. And I think his voice is getting marginally less croaky as well.
Yeah, so he seems to be healthy, healing with full health. So interesting. We'll keep an eye on track his healing progress. But Gloria was also looking especially good, even better than when we met her in season 1. Like they had her hair styled all nicely. She looks like she's being well taken care of now, like full recovery made.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah. And Bernard makes sure to put the blame on himself and Robert as well for drugging Gloria. And apparently they only took her off the drugs so that she could help the nurse swap out Juliet's pills. So I'll take my internet points for my motivated thinking that she was the intermediary that Sims sent to Regina.
Yeah, take the internet points where you can.
Because I'm losing other ones left and right. But yeah, because she's the only one who can genuinely understand what you've been through, which I'm like, does this mean that there's no one else who was on a concentrated dose of that medicine and then later recovered their memory and is alive and well in Silo 18? I guess that's what it means.
Yeah, I think that's what we're supposed to think.
And he says, I think she has a unique perspective of the future facing us all, which is presumably about the whole Silo getting subjected to the vitamin D+. But also Juliet, she met Gloria in season 1, and this was when we found out that Papa Nichols did the birth control removal fake out on Gloria. But Juliet But Juliet doesn't remember that now, and seeing Gloria didn't trigger any memories. Of course, Gloria does look a lot more put together, as I said, but I do wonder if Gloria, if she's presumably going to stick around a bit, if she might help Juliet remember memories linked to her father more later.
Yeah, I think she will stick around, and if anybody is going to be able to do that, it will be Gloria, because, like as Bernard said, she's the only person in the silo who has experienced what Juliet has experienced.
Yeah. And we also, yeah, she was a fertility consultant before, so I do wonder if she could have a connection. Like, what's she doing now? Has she gone back to similar work at all? Is she, like being a midwife or anything? I don't know.
But like Holston thought she was a quack.
Yeah, sure, but he was wrong, as we found out, because she was true. What she was saying was true, that they really
Well,
were
yeah,
stopping people like Allison and her from having babies. So yeah,
yeah, but
that was on
that doesn't.
Holston.
Yeah, that was on Holston, but it doesn't mean that what Gloria was saying actually worked.
I mean, she said that she told Allison that they didn't actually take out her birth control, and she was correct.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like the fertility consultant bit of it, like
Yeah,
telling
I
people
mean, we
how to
don't
get
know.
pregnant.
Yeah, we don't know more, but so far we have no reason to doubt her, and Holston's doubt was proven wrong, I would say. So I think Gloria vindicated, and yeah, I would say
That's
Gloria
true.
vindicated.
That's okay.
But my point of bringing up, whether she could be midwifing or something is I just wondered if she could be another connection. We brought up that there's potentially a baby out there named after Juliet. And then I wondered
Yes.
if the baby was a boy, might they have named him Peter after Peter Nichols?
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah, this is just totally me fan writing, hoping that a baby turns up that helps Juliet rebond with her memories of her father and have like a full recovery
Yeah,
there.
that would be nice.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, the Flame Keepers have re-entered the story, and yeah, this is where I said there's that theme in the short story, the mystery, the memory of the Pez, the mystery of the Pez. Is hope dangerous, or does hope sustain life? And in this case, the hope being a future where they can live outside. And have you watched Snowpiercer?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll say there was a lot of talk about the TV show Snowpiercer in the episode 6 Discord chat. And yeah, it's because it also, minor spoiler, late stage goes into, yeah, this hope of living. Well, I mean, the whole thing's about the hope of living back outside. And that ends up being a through line throughout. But yeah, this Gloria points out they're the seekers of the truth, which was truth being the word on Holston's sheriff badge that, along with George's death, sucked Juliet into all of this craziness in the first place. And that brings us to sadly seeking Papa. Someone else is looking for the truth. While the rest of the team is planning their pipe strategy, Knox tells Shirley there's something he has to do, and he slips out to go see Mark Chambers, George Robinson, in tool fabrication to ask about his father. Snarky Marky admits that Papa Knox is not dead. Someone else was buried in the mines, but not Knox's dad. Knox's dad had designed something for Harwood in exchange for helping him fake his death. So yeah, Harwood said he got caught in a tunnel collapse, and Mark says, then that's what happened. He's like, no. Why is Snarky Marky keeping, what's our nickname for Harwood? Harwood the hater.
Yeah, that's good.
Why is Snarky Marky keeping Harwood the hater's secrets? I want to know what Harwood and Mark Chambers' relationship is.
Yeah. And also, what could Papa Knox possibly have invented?
Yeah. A
Yeah.
drill. No, we already have a smaller drill that also doesn't disturb the
Well,
surface.
yeah, I mean that would make sense, because like somebody's like, maybe if they were digging all these tunnels that got you from like from one part of the silo to another, and no, it's not a drill. It's some sort of, like we've seen the pulley system on the stairs. It's that, but in the tunnels, so that they can get from place to place really quickly.
Well, if Harwood is behind the critical supply thefts, it could be like a pulley system on the stairs that's helping them move things quickly. Or I just do think it's gotta have to come back to these tunnels we keep seeing being dug all over. But it seems like we know the one that Nurse Amy took Juliet through, the vertical one, is much older than any of these people.
Yeah.
We don't know the one that the outsiders disappeared through after their first meeting with Juliet this season. We don't know when that was made.
No, that's true.
Do we think it matters who the someone else is who got buried? I mean, it's just a way for Papa Knox to play dead, because Knox seems to want to know the name of the actual person who died.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to find that out. I mean, it probably happened too long ago at this point.
Well, I don't know, because my one question is like, what's that guy's family told, or they just think he's still working in the mines?
He's still toiling away in the mines. Yeah,
but I do have to say, when Knox asks Mark about the name, the scene cuts. So I'm like, is it a significant name then? Because the way the scene cuts is like you're keeping something secretive from us.
yeah. Or is it a bluff? Is it just the director having a bit of fun with us?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't feel like they would do that and not pay it off.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see.
And then Mark says, yeah, start digging around in Harwood's business and you're likely to disappear down a deep hole. So this is painting Harwood as a murderer. So maybe I'm cutting him too much slack. I don't know. But one more important question before we leave the Knox storyline. SB asked in an email, does it seem like Knox just stepped out of a spa with polished skin and perfectly coiffed hair?
Well, no, it's the typical thing as well. We're living in a dystopian future where everybody has perfect teeth.
Yeah.
Apart from Harwood, actually. Like, Harwood's teeth are fairly gnarly, but I just think it's Shane McRae's pure animal magnetism, to be honest.
I'm going to say, I mean, I can't say about the hair. I think he just, I did see someone ask Shane McRae in an interview, how much time does Knox spend on his hair each morning? He's like, oh, at least 20 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say that the glowing skin is just the effect of working on the generator all the time.
Yeah.
That was steam powered. So
Yeah.
he's got his steam facials regularly. All right. So that brings us to the last part on this very long episode. Operation Bust a Pipe. Teddy's plan for the pipe. He wants to take a team into judicial after hours in disguise and wearing hidden cleaning suits and blow open the wall where they think the pipe is and the pipe with it. And then cap the pipe that they've blown up. We'll come back to it. But I'm a bit fuzzy on that part. And then, after the Flamekeeper intervention, Juliet has decided to greenlight this project. But when the team arrives at Judicial, they see that Rob and Camille are there as well, meaning they would be put at risk of death from the contents of the poison pipe as well. But the stakes are too high. So, posing as pump technicians, they use the passes procured by Rob to get in, setting up the bombs along the wall inside. But as they prepare to set them off, Walker hears from Patrick, and she radios Teddy to tell him to call off the bombs. They are able to stop the explosions from going off in the nick of time. So, yeah, I was with when Juliet was like blowing open the wall next to the killer pipes does seem like a terrible idea. I was like, yeah.
Yeah,
Why don't you stick to your guns on that?
I don't understand this plan at all. I don't know I don't know. I know this, desperate times and everything, Teddy, but what are you hoping to achieve here? Also, like, I see as you put in the notes, what are GWP uniforms? I was hoping you'd be able to tell me that, because I got, what is that? I've clearly missed something here, but I don't know what.
I mean, I'm guessing, so they said that they were there to service the pumps. So maybe like W is water. I'm not sure did they have gas in the silo? We haven't heard anything about gas, but maybe it's something like geothermal water pumps.
Yeah, gas water power maybe.
I don't know that it's gas though, because we haven't seen any gas. So maybe we know that they're geothermal
Yeah,
energy. So maybe
yeah,
geothermal water pumps, something like that.
yeah. Either we've missed something,
No, I couldn't
or
find anything.
yeah, that's just a slightly chunky piece of writing.
I don't think we should say either. I think it's just meant to, it's clear enough. We don't necessarily need to know, but I'm going to go with geothermal water pumps unless I hear otherwise, because that matches with everything that we know about the silo and I've heard so far. I think it's okay for not everything to be explained ad nauseum, even though I say this almost 3 hours into
Yeah,
our
I'm
podcast.
gonna say we're almost 3 hours deep into a podcast here. I want everything explained. God damn it.
But yeah, so I don't know. I don't understand why you would blow up a pipe and then think you could cap it. Like, I understand wanting to blow open the wall, but then like and saying and the pipes behind. Why would you want to blow open the pipe? I don't understand that part.
Yeah, and you like as Martha points out, between the time you blow it open and the time you successfully cap it, you could kill half the silo.
Yeah. Well, not yeah. They were doing the math and they were like 1,000 people, which is less than the 2,000 people who died, who killed themselves after the reset.
Yeah, but I mean,
so that's the math they were doing.
There was a lot of like assumptions built into that math.
Yeah. But I guess the thing is they don't know. They know the pipe goes into judicial here, but they don't know where it goes from there. And I guess that's why they're like, we need to blow it open so we can put the cap where we know the pipe is, rather than just trying to follow the pipe. Maybe they can't because it's going through the walls, and they don't want to bust open the walls because that would take too long.
But I think the overarching point is this is not much of a plan.
No. And yeah, Martha points out they're exposing residential levels above and below. People will be home sleeping at that time. So I'm glad it didn't go through. It did feel like maybe a bit of like, to be honest, that was not the part that had me biting my nails as much as like during that. I was like, yeah, as they're setting it up was about when are we going to hear from Lukas and Patrick? That's the part I was biting my nails about.
But also they did the same thing they did in season 2 of like they kept putting the whole thing on a clock and having it count down.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the second time they've done that.
Yeah. So just clocking that they have 6 cleaning suits. So that might become a plot point in the future if they need cleaning suits for, I don't know, whatever happens next.
Yeah.
There's 6 of them with the Silo Avengers. And that we also maybe should keep an ear out for the code word dogs, because dogs
Who let
means
the dogs out?
Judicial goons. Yeah, so if we hear dogs, they might be talking about judicial goons rather than, Dandy, the dog. I'm still suspicious of Mike. I still don't like Mike, even if he didn't murder her.
Yeah, we haven't seen Mike for like a good 3 episodes now.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out soon what Mike's deal is. Yeah, but of course they call off the bombs because they can get answers from Jimmy in Silo 17 now before they do something stupid. That's better. Let's talk to Jimmy first. I mean, and granted, when they were going to do the bombs is because they thought Lukas and Patrick, that plan had failed, that they were killed. And so they're like, how are we going to, we don't have a way to get this information. But now they do. Now they do have a contact with Silo 17. Bernard asks for a drink, and I think after that episode, we all deserve one.
Yep.
But we do have a couple quick pieces of feedback.
Now opening the listener feedback channel.
So we got an email from Edward H. Hi, Elysia and Luke. Like Luke, I have not read the books and am a show-only fan. First of all, thank you so much for your podcast. Thank you. He said, this is the first season that I've joined. I wish I were part of it from the start. He really appreciates our attention to details. I hope you still do 3 hours in.
Yeah.
But thank you, Edward. He goes on to say, I have tried to join the right. Told me that the Discord is, that the invite link in the show, in like the podcast notes wasn't working. And so I had changed it in the show notes, forgot about the podcast notes, just saying anyone who wants to join the Discord, I've now updated it in the podcast notes. So you can do that as well. As for the show, Edward continues, since the Little Apple novella dropped, my mind has been racing with theories/questions. What if the 4 relics mentioned, the Pez, the sonogram, etc., all belong to Daniel/Helen? After your bonus pod, I watched episode 5, Memories, again, and in it, the origin of Juliet's watch piqued my interest. What if it belonged to Daniel? When the episode went to Daniel and Helen, I specifically tried to look at Daniel's left arm to see if he is wearing a watch. It feels like they purposely blocked Daniel's arm in the shots or cut before it showed. And then came episode 6, when Daniel hurts his left hand trying to stop the car, and they show the band of his wristwatch. I am convinced that it was the same watch. So I'll say about the watch, I can't remember what episode it was, but I did share a Reddit post there where someone had the same theory about it being the same watch. And I posted pictures there as well of the 2 watches side by side. And I thought that the bands were different. And I thought more importantly that the bezel was also different. But I don't know. A lot of people seem to really think it's the same and there would be a sort of satisfaction about it. So I'm putting it back on the table. What do you think, Luke?
Yeah, possibly. I'd have to go back and rewatch it. But yeah.
There's a similarity in design, at least.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Edward continues, also in your bonus pod, Luke made the comment that sonograms should be technology available to the silo in terms of the technologies that they have. So why don't they? And then I rewatched the opening credits. When they show the silo and people walking up and down the stairs, it is sonar.
Yes, it is.
Also, the rotten fruit connects with the farm lights going out. Good point. Good points. Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think the sonar in the opening credits means anything?
That might be how Silo 1 is watching all the individual silos, as well as with the camera. They might have some kind of like heat sensing technology.
Yeah, that's a good point. That opening credits could be the view from Silo 1, so to speak.
From Silo 1, yeah.
Yeah. No, great point to you both. Yeah. Edward says, I don't know what all this means, but it's certainly sending my mind on wild theory trails. I cannot wait to watch the rest.
Well, that's what we're here. That's what we're here for, Edward.
Yeah. And join us as we guide through the back alleys or the millions of unsanctioned tunnels in the silo. Thanks again, Edward. Well, thank you, Edward, for writing in. And then one other thing, Reader Reborn started a discussion on the Discord post episode 6 as well. At this point, I wonder if the voice is even one person. I think it's multiple people working in shifts. And Barb's 2795 said possibly it just wouldn't be achievable otherwise. The voice would be having a little breakdown in the back.
Yeah.
And Motor Riders D said, my theory is that the voice is a bunch of people working in a room in Silo 1, kind of like the broom closet, where there are multiple humans assigned to watch all the silos and interact with them. They have screens in front of them with tons of information. There is a computer, AI/LLM processing all sensors and showing relevant information on screen, kind of like a call center where I worked many years ago. You pull up all the info for each silo and head of IT and follow a script. There are shadows for that job, of course, and I assume Silo 1 has the same generator but less people and different jobs so they can power all the IT departments. Probably pre-2026, their power requirements aren't as ridiculous as they are now with the AI BS. Thoughts on multiple voices, shifts, power generation?
I mean, I think the shifts thing is very interesting because it takes me back. I can't remember which episode it is. It might be episode 4 where Camille goes to speak to the voice and it doesn't answer immediately. And when it does answer, it's clearly annoyed.
Right. I'm not at your beck and call. Like, really? That's news to me.
Yeah, it seems very much like you were.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that kind of speaks to it being people and not an AI.
And why do you think the voice sounds the way it does? the same, basically.
I see. I still think it sounds like Daniel, so I think they may have modelled it on Daniel's voice.
Hmm. And just whoever is
Yeah.
doing it is speaking with the same voice. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that wraps the episode. Any final thoughts, or have
No,
I?
I have literally been bled drier than one of those corpses outside Silo 17. There is nothing left. I am a husk.
Well, we shall let Luke replenish his thinking and replenish the working of my mouth. um, but of course, full weekly coverage continues. Last 3 episodes incoming, and we would love to hear all of your thoughts about them. Please send your thoughts and theories to woolshiftdustpodcast@gmail.com. You'll find that also linked in the show notes. And our next full mailbag will be after the season finale, but we'll sneak some, particularly if you send it by email, we'll sneak some in to our episodes up until that point as well as applicable. And yeah, do keep in mind book spoilers are okay, but then those elements will be discussed on the book club episodes, including this week, rather than here in the future book spoiler-free public feed. We would also love for you to join the discussion on Discord, and I have, again, updated those links in both the show notes and the episode notes. So if that sounds interesting to you, do go ahead and accept that invite. You'll find a dedicated Silo forum there on the Lorehounds Discord, but also forums and chats dedicated to all the other things that you might be reading, watching, listening, doing. We'd love to have you as part of the conversation. And for those of you who might be interested in the book club, you'll find those links in the show notes as well. That is an additional subscriber feed that I do with fellow book reader Abby. It is Supercast and Patreon have basically the same option. Supercast has one additional option if you want to support both the We'll Shift Dust Book Club and my Star Wars Canon Timeline podcast subscription feed for a discounted combined feed. I'm looking into how I can do the same on Patreon. But anyway, otherwise, you'll find all the same on both. You might want to check fees and what they add to the price, particularly if you are an Apple user. But in the book club, you will get weekly deep dives into each of these Silo episodes with all the book spoilers that I can't discuss here, plus a special topic each week. This week's topic is all about Anna. So thank you to our new Silazins since the last episode, Russell G., Jordan F., and Tim R., and welcome back returnees from prior seasons. If you want to avoid a monthly subscription and you're not interested in all the extra episodes in the book club, like holiday specials and all the like, then there is also a season pass option. You can choose between, for a one-time fee, you can choose to just have the extra episodes plus ad-free access to all these episodes for just season 3 or seasons 2 and 3 together, or a triple season pass option, which also includes the book breakdowns from the Silo series. So feel free to explore those in the show notes. Let me know if you have any questions about any of the above. But as I say, you will hear back from Luke and I on this feed for the episode breakdown in a week. In the meantime, you can, of course, find me on the Discord. Luke, you are sometimes stopping by the Discord.
I am sometimes stopping by on the Discord. You can also find me on Blue Sky at Luke Middup. Those are the only 2 social media things that I am on at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. And your podcast. Where else can people listen to your podcast?
Yeah, so I do a podcast called It Could Be Said with a couple of friends from university, Will Cooling and Simon Alvey. We talk about all things British politics, international politics, sport, culture, and whatever else we feel like talking about. We record once a month. I think we were going to record this weekend, but I don't think that's gonna happen now because life has intervened. So it will probably be about another week or so before we put out the next episode.
Okay. And so you'll find that linked in the show notes. You'll also find a link to the Lorehounds website where you can find all of the podcasts in the Lorehounds family, including Dungeons and Durags just wrapped up their finale coverage of House of the Dragon, and they were going to announce there what they were covering next. But I have the episode in my queue. Haven't listened to it yet, so not sure, but we'll find out and I'll let you know. Also, Never Mind the Music, where psychology meets music, and Cosmere Corner, brand new podcast, weekly, breaking down parts of the Mistborn series of books by Brandon Sanderson, and my own The Star Wars Canon Timeline podcast. And of course, the parent podcast of us all, The Lorehounds, where they just wrapped up their weekly House of the Dragon coverage. I was on the first couple episodes. David and Jean did the rest. Before that, yeah, I also just put out an episode with doing a deep dive into the music of the vampire Lestat with John and with Mark from Nevermind the Music. Episode about Supergirl right after this. There's already recorded an episode about the new Spider-Man movie, Brand New Day, will be coming out, and lots more going on there. Weekly Lanterns coverage starting there this coming week. That is going to be, David's going to be returning the favor, starting coverage on that with Jean while I am wrapping this up, and then swapping back into cover Lanterns straight on into Vision Quest and beyond.
Wow.
Yeah. And I guess that's that. And I better go. I just got an email from a Pear Stenson about Project Catacorn.